Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting of the Sterling Heights City Council to order. If you would please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear God, please bless our elected officials. Grant them courage and wisdom to do what is right for all citizens. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Ms. Riska. Can we please have the roll call?
Mayor Taylor?
Here.
Mrs. Sarowski? Here. Mr. Myjack?
Here.
Mr. Radke?
Present.
Mrs. Schmidt?
Present.
Mr. Yanez?
Here.
Mrs. Yarko?
Present.
Thank you, Council. We need approval of the agenda.
Mayor Taylor,
Mrs. Zarko.
move to approve the agenda as presented. Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. First item on our agenda tonight is a report from our city manager, Mark Vanderpool. Mr. Vanderpool.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a couple of topics on my report this evening, including an important presentation. But let me start by reminding everyone that our Beautification Awards process is underway, so help shine a light on our community members that make Sterling Heights a better place for all. If you know a neighbor who's gone above and beyond with their landscaping, nominate them for this year's Beautification Awards. Many of you have seen our program in the past. It's really wonderful to recognize the good work that individuals do, and many of the properties look absolutely beautiful. Categories include single-family homes, multifamily complexes, places of worship, businesses, and the Sterling Green Garden Award, recognizing sustainable front yard gardens through our Think Sterling Green initiative. So nominations are being accepted through the end of the month, actually August 28th. So all you have to do is send a photo of the front of the property to cityhall@sterlingheights.gov. It's really simple, a couple of the address and a couple of comments, and that's all it takes. And also some really good news. I know the mayor and council already know about this, but the city of Sterling Heights has once again been nominated for the Michigan Municipal League 2026 Community Excellence Award.
Yes.
The Community Excellence Award was developed almost 20 years ago to celebrate innovative placemaking projects and programs happening all across the state. Finalists compete at the league's annual convention this October, where attendees will vote on the best project, and there's 4 right now. So we hope to be voted the top project. So this October, Sterling Heights will compete for the top award. It's really, it's great for Sterling Heights. We get to showcase the great work we've done with our community garden, which out of all the nominations statewide, we're down to the final 4 with our community garden, our butterfly conservancy, our micro garden, and all the components that make up that amazing park now. So we're looking forward to showcasing this. We're looking forward to bringing home the award. I know the mayor and city council are looking forward to participating in this and showcasing everything we're doing in Sterling Heights once again. And lastly, we have a comprehensive presentation on a very important policing tool that we are using in Sterling Heights. In fact, it's widely used all across the country, and the technology has been used in our city in varying forms for many, many years. So with us this evening is our police chief, Andrew Satterfield, who's going to start out the presentation, and we have a couple of other follow-ups as part of the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Taylor, honorable council members, Mr. Vanderpool, and City Attorney Kozubski. Captain Bisdorf and I are here to talk about our usage of automated license plate readers, as there's been quite a bit of controversy recently on the system, specifically the flock system. There's a lot of misconceptions on what flock is, and we hope to clear those up tonight. We want to be completely transparent by explaining what it does, how it works, the value it gives to public safety, and the policy and oversights we have in place to use it properly and within the laws. This is a headline from last year's Macomb Daily last September. We've been named the safest biggest city in Michigan in the last 6 years in a row, according to the FBI annual report. Part of this accomplishment is by utilizing technology such as automated license plate readers. We don't do this alone, though. We rely on you as proactive council members to support our efforts, and then city administration to make sure we carry out our initiatives effectively. We get those initiatives by listening to our residents and business owners and their concerns for their safety. And finally, the police department is guided by our core values of fairness, transparency, and integrity. It's a strong collaborative effort. This is our mission statement. The Sterling Heights Police Department vows to provide progressive police services to ensure the safety and well-being of all citizens. Our promise is to deliver dedicated customer service with transparency, integrity, and fairness. Through enhanced training, the acquisition of ever-evolving technology, and a continuing cohesive relationship with the community, we take pride in offering dependable, unbiased security and protection. As I've mentioned at previous council meeting, automated license plate readers are one of the most valuable pieces of technology since the discovery of DNA and fingerprints. I want to note that this is not a new technology for us. We've used some form of automated license plate readers for about 15 years. I will now turn it over to my investigatives captain, Captain Jason Bisdorf, to present on exactly on how Flock works.
Mayor, City Council, Mr. Vanderpool, City Attorney Kozubski, thank you. Good evening. My name is Captain Jason Bisdorf. I'm with the Criminal Investigations Division. As you can see on the PowerPoint, there is a picture of one of our Flock cameras, if you've never seen one before. And that Flock camera is specifically the Flock camera that's on Dodge Park and located at Plumridge Drive. Throughout my presentation, I'm going to be using the word Flock as well as the word ALPRs. I just want to let you know that those are the same. Flock is an automated license plate reader, so if that comes up, that's what they are. Since Flock is about license plate, I wanted to provide you with some information about Michigan law and what Michigan law requires with regards to license plate. As of right now, the Michigan law indicates that a license plate must be visible and securely fastened to the rear of your vehicle in a clearly legible condition. Not only does that license plate have to be clearly legible, but at night it also has to be illuminated by a light so that it can be seen by at least 50 feet away. It has to be clearly fastened to your vehicle. It can't be swinging around. And the state of Michigan even put how many inches off the ground it needs to be, which is 12 inches. It also requires you to have a registration tab and when that expires. And the reason for this is that your vehicles can be easily identifiable by law enforcement and for public safety reasons, because we want to keep our roads safe. We enforce by state law. There's a state law. The state law is People of the State of Michigan versus Calvin Earl Jones. And that law indicates a police officer may properly run a computer check of a license plate in plain view, even if no traffic violation is observed and there is no other information to suggest that a crime has been or is being committed. There is a no probable cause or articulable suspicion requirement to run a computer check of a license plate number. The courts have ruled that a person legally does not have reasonable expectation of privacy related to a license plate in plain view. And the Sterling Heights Police Department routinely runs license plate checks for compliance to laws and ultimately for the safety of our community. As you can see here, there's another picture of a Flock camera. It's just more of a close-up. And that Flock camera is something that has a small battery, AC-powered camera. It has solar panels to keep the batteries charged. Sterling Heights Police Department currently has 24 cameras throughout the city for maximum coverage. The cameras have cellular data connections. The pictures are saved to a secure storage, and it may alert police of wanted vehicles. And our cameras do not have ability to pan, tilt, or zoom. This next slide I'm showing you is an actual picture that's used from our Flock. And I wanted to let you know what data is captured. Data is captured as your license plate number, the vehicle make, model, color, and body type, the date and time it was captured, the camera location that it was captured, and it will maintain that data for 30 days. So what do ALPRs not capture? Well, we don't use facial recognition. We don't capture audio. We don't recognize people. We do not predict crime. They do not analyze or collect demographics. And they do not capture private property or residence, specifically with the Sterling Heights cameras. I like to call this slide our wills and will nots. What will the Sterling Heights Police do with ALPRs? Well, we're going to use them for official Sterling Heights Police criminal investigations. We're going to use them to locate stolen autos. We're going to use them to locate criminally wanted individuals. We're going to use it to locate missing persons. And if an Amber Alert comes out and it's hit on our cameras, the Sterling Heights will respond. What we won't use these for, we won't use these for immigration enforcement. We will not use them for reproductive care. We will not use them for harassment or intimidation of any individual or group, and we will not use them for personal reasons. As I indicated, Sterling Heights has 24 cameras in 24 different locations. And I want to let you know again, what information can we collect from ALPRs? We're going to get your license plate, we're going to get your vehicle, the camera location, and where it was on the roadway, and the time that the vehicle was observed. Here's what we can't gather from ALPRs. We can't gather that you were driving. We can't gather that you stopped at a fast food restaurant. We can't gather what you ordered. We can't gather what church you visited. We can't tell that you went to a residential home. We can't tell who you spoke with, who you met, or what medical care you received. If I want that information, I just need to go and get your cell phone and credit card, because as you know, your cell phone and credit card probably know more about us than we do. But in order to do that, I need a warrant. I need probable cause, a reasonable belief that factual evidence that a crime has been committed and that specific evidence related to that crime is currently located at a particular place. I also have a Fourth Amendment for unreasonable searches and seizures, and that should be expected for that type of information. I want to show you a specific snapshot of our computer system. As you can see, there's 2 red arrows on there, and that is because the offense type and a case number are required field searches for our officers before they can hit the send button. And each entry of that field requires searchable data that can include the type of car you're driving, which could be included a convertible, a coupe, a hatchback, a sedan, or a wagon. It could be a van, a minivan, or a work van. It's going to tell us what color it is. It's going to tell us the make. We even have the option to click certain buttons that say, hey, I want to know what cars have a top rack, a back rack, bumper stickers, window stickers, or a toolbox. What the system can't do is take that license or take that bumper sticker and then find out if you're pro-life, pro-choice, if you're in favor of a Republican candidate or Democratic candidate. It's not going to tell and give us the ability to tell if you're pro-Second Amendment or you're a gun control advocate. Some information that's important to know. ALPRs on their own do not give us access to Secretary of State information. That means your driver's license, your picture, your address. ALPRs do not tell who owns the car. ALPRs do not tell if the vehicle has insurance. ALPRs do not access your driving record. As I indicated, ALPRs do not provide your address to us. And ALPRs do not provide demographic information. If I want that information, I then have to take that license plate and put it into a completely different system, which is our LEAN, our Law Enforcement Information Network. And that gives me the access to your Secretary of State information. And if you've ever seen the policy and procedures when it comes to using LEAN, feel free to look up on the internet the 24-page policy that indicates specifically rules and regulations along with the criminal penalties that are associated with misuse. Just want to go over the quick top 5 myths. One of the myths is ALPRs are mass surveillance and can track people anywhere they go. Well, the fact is ALPRs take a point-of-time image of the rear of your car, just like the vehicle we saw, on public roadways. They do not continuously track vehicles. Images are not access related, or I'm sorry, images that are not access related to an investigation are automatically deleted after 30 days. No one, including Flock, can access these images after 30 days because they are deleted. Myth number 4, I kind of touched on this already, but Flock one of the misses, Flock utilizes facial recognition. It does not. Flock captures vehicles, not biometric data or faces. Another myth is that private companies have access to law enforcement data. If private companies have ALPRs, just because they own one doesn't mean that they can tap into our system. We don't allow that. Myth number 2, the data is stored forever. I touched on that already. The data is deleted after 30 days. And the last myth, ALPRs violate the Fourth Amendment. I just stated to you case law and what allows us to do what we do. Current state and federal court rulings do not prohibit their use, and AL technology has been around and been utilized for many years. Just like the chief stated, we've been using it, or it's in some form or fashion, for decades. I believe that they started to come out in the 70s, if I'm not mistaken. So I want to tell you what SHPD, what rules and regulations that we're going to put in place to make sure that we're using this appropriately. Every time a search is conducted, we will require a reason for a search. We are going to require a case number for a search or written additional explanation for what that search is. We will only use it for law enforcement purposes. These will be subject to monthly audits, and red flags will be consistently monitored by supervisors. So what about outside agencies? Well, in order for an outside agency to use our system, they must provide a reason for their search, and it must be for a legitimate law enforcement purpose. We have the ability to turn on and off specific features, and one of the features that will not allow is for outside agencies to conduct searches for immigration enforcement. We will not allow them to conduct searches for healthcare-related searches. Federal agencies, such as ICE, do not have access to our system. So I want to jump into quickly the monthly audits. As you can see, there's another screenshot of our actual computer system which says audit assistance. As I indicated, audits will be completed every month. It's going to include the date or the month it was completed, the date it was completed. We're going to provide the number of SHPD searches. All searches will be reviewed for appropriate reason and case numbers. SHPD will use Flock Assistance. And this is a software system that flags inconsistent or suspicious searches that allow for additional review. It's just another way to audit where they can look at it. The system will say, this doesn't appear to be right. You need to look at it, and we're going to look at it. Any violation that we find at the Sterling Heights Police Department will be turned over to the Office of the Chief for further investigation. And any violation of this policy will result in discipline up to and including termination. Just to quickly recap, Sterling Heights ALPRs take photos of vehicles and license plates on public roads. The photo is of a specific time and a specific location. We do not use facial recognition, and Flock does not provide lien or Secretary of State information. To conduct mass surveillance, a law enforcement officer of our agency would have to violate SHPD policy to procure your license plate, and then they would have to violate our lien and Secretary of State policy to run your information through. So in that, I'm going to turn it back over to Chief Satterfield for some closing comments and recommendations.
Thank you, Captain Bisdorf. I hope this presentation dispels many myths of this technology and provides some comfort to the system. I'd also like to add one of our recent success stories. I've talked about it before, about a month ago. We had a bank robbery in town. We had very limited info to go on, but we did capture a Flock image of the suspect vehicle. Using the Flock system, we also found out that this vehicle was stolen out of Troy the day prior, and the Troy Special Investigations Unit was already working on this case. We collaborated with Troy, and we were able to obtain a search warrant on that vehicle's information center, which, to get that information, obviously a search warrant is going to be needed, and we were able to track that vehicle to a neighboring city within hours We had the suspect in custody. Nearly all of the money was recovered. The vehicle was recovered undamaged and returned to the rightful owner. And it solved quite a few cases. And also, the suspect was from another state, Indiana or Illinois, I can't quite remember, but this was going to be a multi-state crime spree. So we were able to stop that within less than 24 hours. We also have our transparency dashboard, which has some success stories and some stats on our website. It also has our search numbers, and anyone can go on there and see our searches in addition to our complete policy on flock. I know that we have the safeguards in place to ensure the system is used properly and within the confines of the law. I also support any forthcoming state or federally sponsored legislation on this topic, and I'm open to be a resource to the lawmakers so we have collaborative effort on establishing further guidelines. We're going to move forward. Sterling Heights Police Department will move forward, continue with transparency, fairness, and integrity. We'll continue with our monthly audits by our command staff, update our policy as needed, and continue to listen to our residents' concerns. I strongly recommend the City Council approve the continuation of this valuable resource. And Captain Bisdorf and I will be available for any questions if you may have them.
And Mayor, just in conclusion, you can see how important this tool is in our policing world in Sterling Heights to keep our city safe, but it's just one tool of many. The police department utilizes many, many tools. And I wanted to bring some perspective to this because we all drive, we're all on the roads, and they're very congested in Sterling Heights. We have a very busy city. The traffic counts on M59 alone, for example, are close to 100,000 a day. That's just on M59. The searches that are done through flock per officer every day average about 10 to 20. The actual searches, 10 to 20 per officer. Think about the hundreds of thousands of cars that are going through our city in any given day. It's a micro fraction. But nevertheless, for the reasons the chief and the captain stated, it is an important tool. It does help keep the city safe. And Mayor, I'm sure that you and the council members may have some questions, but I'll let you handle that. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Vanderpool. Thank you, Chief and Captain Bisdorf, for the presentations. I'll open it up to councils if there's any questions or comments.
I'll start.
Mr. Radke.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This was not on our agenda today, so we kind of got sandbagged. We weren't fully prepared. But first, I find all of this, there's a whole document online. It's presented by Flock, how to sell Flock to your city council. And I think the police department hit on almost every single point in the 14-page document, which you can search on the internet right now. You know, mass surveillance is not a good thing. This tool is not a good thing. The fact that they're using it per officer 10 to 20 times a day should scare the heck out of all of us. And I want to cancel this contract. This contract will not come back for cancellation unless this council moves to bring this contract back for cancellation. But I have several concerns. It says that we can't search by bumper sticker. We can. We're promising you, trust us, we won't. And in the New York Times this weekend, I want to say it wasn't the New York Times, it was the Washington Post this weekend. There was an article about 50 officers who had stalked their ex-girlfriends using Flock across the country, creating heat maps. One of them followed his girlfriend to an abortion clinic because he wanted to get in the way of her reproductive freedom. I have trouble believing when people say, well, trust us, we're the government. Well, my job is to be a check on the trust of the government. I don't feel like this is a tool that is safe. I don't feel like this mass surveillance is a good thing. I think that the number of searches that we're doing compared to the number of searches that are being done nationwide on our system is scary to me. And it's a network system. So there's a couple things. Right now, misusing lien, which was mentioned in the presentation, is a crime. Misusing Flock is not a crime. So I guess through the mayor to the city attorney, could we make it a crime in Sterling Heights to misuse Flock? Can we make it a 90-day misdemeanor if the officer misuses the system?
Mr. Koszybski?
Thank you, Mayor. Councilman Radke, yes, the city council has the power to create a local ordinance that would create a 90-day misdemeanor for misuse of flock.
Well, so I guess I would be in favor of that. I'm not in favor of continuing this contract, but if I lose, I'd be in favor of making it a local misdemeanor for misuse of flock. That won't solve the problem. The problem is the network. You know, it's not one, and some of the arguments in your presentation, I'm afraid, are just completely disingenuous. It's not one camera. It's a network of 18,000 cameras across the country. It's not one point in thing. Right now, on Flock, I could pull a heat map up on any one of our cars and see everywhere you've gone the last 30 days. I can lay it day over day over day. And if I was stalking you, I now know where you'll be, where you work, where you go. And yeah, I don't know if you ordered a Big Mac from McDonald's, but if there's one by a McDonald's, I can see if you probably went there or what are you doing. They don't put them in the parking lots of reproductive health clinics. But if you are constantly traveling in the vicinity of one, it doesn't take a detective to figure out where you might be going. So, you know, I'm frustrated because I would have come better prepared if I knew this presentation was on our agenda. And it wasn't. We weren't told about it. It's not in our packet. So, you know, and I guess I'll finish with this. I asked last time to the chief, and I'll ask it again, to the chair, to Chief Satterfeld, have we ever denied a search in our system from anyone?
Actually, Captain, do you know?
The captain doesn't have information.
We have not denied it.
Right. Have we ever removed someone from the system because we believe they've been abusing it, like these 50 officers and their source organizations across the country?
We have removed departments from usage of it
Right. And because they violated our rules?
because they, several months ago, they had some plate information that was released, so we removed them as being our flock friends.
So a department like Taylor has signed an agreement with the federal government to enforce immigration laws locally. Do we have an agreement with Taylor to use our flock system?
I'm not sure about that. Do you know?
Captain? I do not know. So maybe we should look into that. Just because we're denying the federal government access to our system doesn't mean that their policing partners don't have access to our system. And because our officers serve on task force, and I assume officers serve on task force across the country, what's to stop a task force officer from coming and using his local ID to run something and then bring it back to the federal task force? How do we verify that our information is staying right here in Sterling Heights? And I'll go one more further. When this contract was approved, it was asked of us that this information is ours. We control it. We own it. So how do we ensure other people aren't taking our information and then using it for nefarious purposes?
We can control our officers, what they are searching, and have guidelines on that. Other agencies, if we find out that they're using it inappropriately, we would remove it.
Okay, well, I mean, there's an article in the New York Times that lists about 50 agencies we probably should remove because their officers were misusing flock. And I'm sure that that's the tip of the iceberg. I don't think that our officers are misusing flock. We have very stringent safeguards here in Sterling Heights, but we also are a large policing agency that takes ourselves very seriously. There's thousands of police agencies across the country. And I mean, not all of them, I don't think, hold up to our standards. And I'm glad that we've activated both the suspicious audits trail and the requirement for a report number. But even then, this is scary to me because flock is commoditizing us. We are the commodity. Driving around, having our plate being surveyed, we are now the commodity. They're now selling access to us, right? And where does it end? Right now, Flock has cameras that do pan, tilt, zoom. We don't have them here in Sterling Heights. Flock has rolling out right now cameras that can send you tickets in the mail. Now, that's not quite legal in Michigan, but just because they don't have it here now doesn't mean this is not a slippery slope that can then develop into other things. Enlarging the network is their number one priority because that makes them money, and then that creates a built-in audience for other tools like drones that they can now sell us. At the end of the day, Flock is a company. They're trying to make money off of us. You know, technology always outpaces the law. You know, for years you could access technology on a phone, which now requires a warrant without a warrant. I've had a cell phone since I was in high school. I graduated in 2004. And only in 2018 did the Supreme Court say, no, you need a warrant to search that, to search the location access in the phone. So I guess for more than 18 years, 16 years, you essentially had a netherworld where essentially the law had not quite caught up to the technology being used. So I think the Supreme Court will eventually say that this is intrusion of privacy. Being able to follow you day after day for 30 days, knowing where you'll be, that is intrusion of privacy. I would cancel this contract now. I would urge my colleagues to place this on the agenda to discuss renewal or non-renewal of this contract. I'd also ask my colleagues to really critically think about possibly imposing a local misdemeanor for misuse of this. This technology is dangerous. I think we're doing everything to try to keep it safe, but I think it's built in to be misused, and I'm not in favor of it at all. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Radke. Anyone else?
I'll go.
Ms. Sarowski?
Thank you, Mayor Taylor. Chief, you might as well stay up here. Thank you. I am in favor, and I thank Mr. Radke for starting that part of it, is that, yes, I think a local misdemeanor for misuse of flock by anyone, specifically our officers, but by anyone who may have access from different agencies should be something that we do. Do have some questions. So Mr. Radke mentioned that flock could follow somebody day after day after day after day using a heat map, which basically is a hit off of off of all the cameras and seeing where, if you're looking for one car, correct me if I'm wrong, one car going throughout the city, you can flag it at each location. Is that something that it can be used for?
If someone travels past the same flock camera every day, it'll hit on that camera. It doesn't real-time track where if it hits one camera and it'll detect you through a side road or a different road. It's a one snapshot in time, and one image at a time. So no, it can't real-time surveil people.
Okay. But it could possibly, if you put a lot of data together, how would somebody access that data? Is it just the case number and the offense, and then they can go in and start accessing all data for that particular license plate number?
For 30 days, they can see the plate, and it'll show, if it hit on one camera, it's just going to show one camera.
But if it's multiple
Cameras, it can show some heat maps on where the person has been.
Okay. And when someone accesses that information, that is something that they can get a 30-day, so they can access and ask for or request 30 days of information.
Correct. And you can limit different, you could do Michigan, you could do local, you could do nationwide if we're friends with
Okay.
someone.
Okay, and then another question I have is, I know that we had mentioned, it had been mentioned in the presentation, that if there's a red flag of use, you would look into that. What are the red flags? How are they identified? And then where do they go?
So Flock has an internal red flag system that will pop up for us if we might miss something. If an officer runs a plate numerous amount of times, more than a certain amount.
So like for 30-day?
Yeah, in a 30-day, if
Yeah.
they ran someone's plate and it was multiple times, it would red flag and say, this officer ran this plate quite often, and maybe it should be reviewed, and then we would review that. Is there, what's the other criteria for that? That's
Late at
the
night,
main
Chief.
one, right?
If you may run searches late at night.
Pardon?
The tool will flag you if you run a lot of searches late at night. That's part of the flock packet that I read.
I don't think so.
That's what it says.
If I run a plate late at night, it'll,
If you run the same plate multiple nights, like late at night, after midnight, it'll flag you. It's in the packet they give to police departments.
I don't know that, but, like I had offered before for all city council to come see the full demo. We'll show you exactly the audit system, and I know many of you have taken us up on that next week. I want you to be completely educated on it. If I could correct one thing, Mr. Vanderpool stated 10 to 20 searches per officer per day. It's 10 to 20 total searches per day. In the last 30 days, we had 448 searches. So, and then
And then who,
50 officers doing nefarious things. I'm sure that was brought to the attention and they were dealt with. Some were fired, I know. 50 officers out of 700,000 sworn officers in the United States is 0.007%. That's better than medical malpractice percentages with doctors. bumper sticker searches, we cannot type in a certain bumper sticker descript. It's only, is there a sticker on the back of a car? We cannot do that.
Like the type of script or the wording on that bumper
Correct.
sticker.
We can't type in text, please look up, I support Liz Sarowski for city council. We can't do that. Bless you.
I've never seen one of those bumper stickers.
You're right, I don't have any.
Stay tuned.
Next.
Sorry.
That's okay, Chris, Chief. And then once it's red flagged, what's the process?
So we have our own process where we will do our own audit, where we will pick and choose randomly, and then if the red flag comes up, we click on the review and see why was this plate ran, and it'll show, okay, this officer ran it, and what's the case report? The case report will come up, the reason, we cross-reference that with the actual case report to make sure it wasn't falsely put in, so we can read it and say, yes, he was working on this case, and this is a criminal investigation.
So the case number being required and the offense, I think is something I saw that was required as well. So it's just, that is required on the report. It has to be identified in the query. So what if somebody who broke the law in a state that has found abortion illegal, so there actually will be a case number if they've crossed state lines, they would have, somebody in Texas would have a case number for that. I did hear that we weren't doing it for reproductive health, but it's still an offense. Does that, because they have a case number for the offense in their state, because it's a health-related offense, we don't acknowledge that? We do not allow that? How does that go?
I don't even know how that would work, because if someone puts it in as reproductive in Texas, they could see that a car came to Michigan, but how would they see that it went to an abortion clinic? And then take it a step further, how did they see they went in and had a procedure that's HIPAA violations? It's just, I don't see how it would even give you value, because all it is giving is a plate on a main road and the vehicle. So I'm not sure how that would even work, and I'm not familiar with that rumor that's happening or the
Yeah, I
information.
just wanted to kind of see where that would go, but, okay.
Not a rumor, they did it, in the New York Times.
How do we assure that FLOC follows our rules and cannot access and share our data? How do we make sure? They say that they do. They're saying that we've clicked the box, but how do we do audits on them, or can we do audits on them and get their assurance? I don't know how else, get some data on what they're doing.
I guess if they were not sharing our data in the proper agreements, and we found that out, that would be a great reason to cancel the contract to Sterling Heights. We don't know that that is happening at all. We have not heard of any cases of that. We share data with our shared friends in the network, but I have not seen FLOC leaking data, and if they did leak the data is a plate and a vehicle. There's no person information. It doesn't do people any good. You could find that on the open roadways. You could stand out, take photos of cars, and share that on the internet. There's no expectation of privacy on public roadways.
Right. So if someone, well, let me ask this question first. So can FLOC, so let me backtrack a little bit, because that goes to my next question. So my understanding is that the data is our data. Can FLOC themselves access our data? Can some technician in the FLOC company get into our data?
I would assume that's the company, but no, they cannot.
So FLOC itself just provides us with the cameras and the software to use, but the data itself is ours. So no other, unless, let's say Warren needs to check out a car because they think there's a stolen vehicle, and want to use our FLOC system or want to access it, they have to put in their case number. But can they go ahead and just do that, the case number, and they're looking at the cameras in Sterling Heights, or do we have to give them permission for that?
Well, we give them permission as our FLOC friends, and that's how they get it. I imagine if FLOC wanted to store all that data, they would need several data centers to store all that, because it's a lot of searches. So
No data centers here.
that's where we get the sharing through department to department.
Okay, so, but at any time, it's shared if they request it, is my question. So it's not like they have to like a warrant where it'd have to go to a judge and we'd have to get the warrant and then come to us. It would just be, they can get into the data because they've been considered a friend, local,
Correct.
other government or other body.
Correct.
Okay, so so just to be sure, if there was something that, let's say, the federal government or federal agency wanted our data, wanted the data, they cannot get it without us knowing that they're getting it.
We are not friends with any federal agencies. I'm not sure if federal agencies are on the system, quite honestly. But we're not friends with them, so they can't directly get our data.
If they were our friends, they could.
If we were flock friends, then that'd be the
I
agreement.
was like Facebook friends. Okay. All right, I reserve the right to have other questions, but I'm done for now.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Sarowski. Anyone else? Mr. Schmidt?
Thank you. We'll stay with a follow-up to Ms. Sarowski's last question. So if a federal agency is flock friends with Warren, but not with us, can they access our information through Warren?
No, not if the federal
Mayor,
agent,
I'm talking to the police chief.
Yeah, I understand this is we're going through a process here. We're trying to get as much information. We're asking questions. It doesn't really help when we have outbursts. I mean, not that that was a big outburst, but we can handle it. You'll all have an opportunity to speak at this meeting and share any thought you have as well. Mr. Schmidt?
no, the officer in Warren would be the one that would have to request the information through their search, not a federal agent.
And then that officer could in turn give information to the federal agency from our system?
That would be a Warren policy if they have a TFO or if they're in agreement with them, but we don't have that to know because we can't track, so.
So are
Is it
we
possible-
notified if another agency accesses our system or why they're accessing our system?
Yes, we know when other agencies use our system and the reasons and.
Okay, so who gets the red flag? If there's a red flag that occurs in our system, who gets that? Does Captain
Yes.
Biesdorf get that?
The
Okay.
flock administrators, which is Captain Bisdorf and Lieutenant Finkbeiner.
Okay, so we have two administrators, but every officer has the capability to access flock?
Yes, every sworn officer.
Okay. As they have the capability with lien, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And we have consequences in place for lien violations.
Yes.
And the same consequences in place for a flock violation, correct?
The lien violations there's state law on that, where
Right.
it's actually a crime, so you can get not only terminated, but also charged with a crime.
Okay, so that's something that the state could take up?
Yes,
The more that flock is becoming utilized in an issue in the state of Michigan? Okay,
yeah, and I did find out this week, there is a rep that's bringing up a House bill, and I'm happy they're doing so to get I treat flock very seriously. Our office treats it very seriously. If there's violations, we will treat it very much so like a lien violation. So I'm hoping that when this House bill goes through and I hope there's collaboration, I'll be happy to sit with the lawmakers and make it useful for everybody and in keeping in mind our constitutional rights and rights to privacy.
okay. Maybe we contact our state legislators and offer you up. You know, just so that they know that you are willing to be involved and available to them as resources. I think that's a great idea. So this is what I'm gonna say. I'm keeping an open mind about this. I'm going for the presentation next week. I'm very interested to see how it all functions. I know that as a parent, if I had a child that were kidnapped and a kidnapper could be caught because of a flock camera, I'm okay with that. So there's a lot of things in other situations that this is a great tool for our police officers. It's going to take a lot to convince me that it's not. But I'm keeping an open mind and I'm looking forward to the presentation. I appreciate all of your work into this. I would like a copy of the PowerPoint if we could. I took pictures, but it's easier just to have a printed copy of that if we could get that emailed, whatever. And with that, I think I am done for tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Schmidt. Anyone else? Mr. Yanis?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through the chair to Captain Bisdorf, you had mentioned that all the photographs from Flock go to a secure server. Where's that secure server located?
It's the cloud?
It is in the cloud.
Yes.
So, okay. I know the cloud's not a real cloud. It's a building with a computer in it somewhere. So who has control of that computer and whose building is it?
I do not know.
You don't know?
No.
Oh, then we need to find out. I was going to say, I was going to ask, thank you for the shout out. But please don't do it again. I was going to ask if it was an Amazon server. If it is an Amazon server, we need to know that. We need to know that. Who has oversight for our system? I know you said we had 2 officers, but if there is a violation, how does city council find out that there was a violation? How does it not get hidden from city council for fear that we may cancel the system? How does that work internally? And so you know what? Let me propose that to the city manager.
Mr. Vanderpool, do you need him to ask again? Or
Yeah.
clarify?
Yeah. You need a clarification? Okay. Yeah, so if there is a violation, they detect a violation, what's the process? How does it filter back to city council? How does city council advise that we had a violation for the Sterling Heights flock system?
Well, Councilman Yanis, good question. If there is any personnel issue, obviously it rises to the chief's level. The chief has to sign off on any disciplinary action. Obviously, if there's misuse of the flock system or lien, they take appropriate action, and our HR department's involved with that. My office would review it as well. And if city council wants to get updates on any disciplinary issue involving flock, we're happy to do that. We don't give you updates on every personnel matter in the city, but if you are specifically requesting information on this, we're happy to do that. It's not a problem.
I guess I'm concerned if a Fourth Amendment right has been violated and information suppressed from city council, and we have the power to cancel this contract, we should know about it. There should be some level of oversight that goes directly to city council. So I'm very disturbed by that answer, but okay, I'll accept it as it is. Either one of you 2 gentlemen can answer this question, I'm sure. Do we use other resources such as, police TV shows, or there's always, go to the corner store and pull their security camera footage, right, or Ring doorbell footage. Does that happen a lot? Because it seems to me that we're all on somebody's camera somewhere, right?
Sure. Councilman Yanis, every one of our cases that we come with, Flock plays a role. It's not necessarily the whole role of the investigation. We do obtain video footage from local residents, local businesses. We canvass areas when it needs to. We'll get witness statements. We'll do search warrants on phones, search warrants on bank statements. This just is one of many tools that we utilize.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. And we got 4 new officers here that are probably having second thoughts about joining the department, so I'm going to hustle this up.
Having second thoughts about coming to another city council.
And two. I'm just going to say this. Listen, I'm very concerned about Fourth Amendment rights. I've been a follower and a supporter of Electronic Frontier Foundation since the 1990s. And, this was an issue 40 years ago. They were very concerned about when people were going online and who's looking. But I'll tell you what, I did some work for a guy a couple of years ago, and his marketing plan was working with a company that pinged your phone. They knew if you were going to McDonald's or Burger King or what liquor store you went to or what party store you went to, and they could market that way. And frankly, I think private business knows more about you than the government does. And having worked at the state level, I can tell you, not everybody there is nefarious, and maybe not the smartest people like the movies would have you believe. People behind the curtain pulling the levers of power and in following you. Obviously, what happened in what was reported in the Washington Post is very concerning, even though that's a very small number. It only has to happen to you, and then it becomes a big thing, right? But having said that, I think this is a good tool. I talked to a police officer who lives here in Sterling Heights, so he's a police officer in Southfield, and he's their flock guy, and he tells me that he's used it numerous times to solve cases. My stepdaughter's a dispatcher for Royal Oak Police Department, and she tells me that they've used it to solve numerous cases. And we didn't get to be the safest large city in the state of Michigan for no reason at all, obviously through good, diligent police work, but technology comes into play. And I think until we start to see an actual abuse of this, is not a potential abuse, because we can potentially abuse any system, I don't know that we should lose this tool. I also wanted to say something about, Councilman Radke said, this is a business, and you're right, it absolutely is a business trying to make money off the municipalities, but so is Apple, so is Ford and Chevy and GM, and so is everybody else we buy. So, the people who pour the cement for our streets are a business, right? And they're trying to tap into our largesse. So at this point, I don't see a reason why we should get rid of Flock. I think we should be very vigilant about what we're doing with Flock and the information that we have. I think we really need to look into this oversight issue. I very much support the idea of if a law hasn't been created at the state level, the ordinance at the local level, just to make sure that police officers who are thinking about abusing the system don't, because they know that there will be consequences. So I know this is just the city manager's report, so I'm going to leave it there, but until I see a massive, or not even a massive, but just an abuse of the system, I'm going to continue to support what we're doing right now. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Yanez. Mrs. Zarko.
Thank you, Mayor Taylor. I'm not going to say a whole lot tonight because already enough has been said about this, but I'm going to agree that companies are in business to prosper. And companies develop technology to assist us in doing our jobs better and more efficiently. And we don't always think of the negative parts of that particular item that has been, created. But I will say, I drive through this city, in this city, I couldn't tell you where all of the flock cameras are. And if I'm driving through the city and I'm not doing anything wrong, I'm not worried about it. I didn't rob a bank. I didn't beat somebody up in a bar. So to me, the fact that it's tracking me from one city to another, I don't really care. They can do it. Doesn't bother me. Now, to somebody else, it might bother them. That's just how I feel. So I'm going to say that I've listened to all the comments tonight, and I'm not going to make any more because I really want to see the presentation next week. But I'm going to ask you a question is, say in Shelby, somebody gets pulled over because, there was a chase. And it just so happens in Shelby is where this particular car ended up. Do they backtrack to find out the origin of where that chase originally started? Would they ask us, through the chair to Chief Satterley, would they ask us if for a view in case this license plate came through our city? They would just ask for the license plate, correct?
Well, Shelby has 50 of their own flock cameras. They could run it themselves.
Okay.
If it was a chase where they didn't know, they might want to find out where this car was coming from. Maybe they committed a crime somewhere, and they could notify us or Troy or another department, hey, we had a chase with this car, and it was in your town at 2 a.m. You may want to see if there's any link to it, but they have their own system. So.
Okay. And some of the examples that were given about our privacy and technology, the cell phone that you carry in your pocket gives somebody else more information than these flock cameras. And that's truth. That is not made up, that is truth. Go on a website and say, I'm looking for a power washer at Home Depot. And then go on Facebook and find out how many places are going to tell you where you can buy a power washer and what the deals are for that day. So to me,
I think there are other ways that people invade your privacy than they do, in more ways than they do on the flock cameras. This is a tool to keep our community safe. That's intention. We know that there are parameters in place for punishment if somebody abuses this system. So for right now, I'm going to say that I would be in favor of renewing this contract. So keep it coming, and we'll see if you can change my mind. But for right now, I see more benefits to this than I do problems. So nothing further.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Zarko. Anyone else? Going once, twice? Okay. Well, I gotta, thank you guys for being here and taking questions and making the presentation. I do have concerns, and I'm gonna just ask a couple of questions. So I think the comment was that there's about 10 to 20 searches per day by Sterling Heights officers. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. Do we have any way of tracking, or do we track how many searches come from outside of the city of Sterling Heights?
That, we do have that, correct, yeah.
Do you know what it is?
Well, if, with all the networks, there's like 1,800 networks that we're friends with, and it could be from different states. If they don't scale down their search, it would hit on us. They're not gonna get any results, because if they're in a far west state, obviously the car.
So they might be, somebody in Colorado just searches for this license plate and searches all 18,000 jurisdictions.
100.
1,800.
1,800, and so it may hit Sterling Heights, it may not. I mean, it'll go through Sterling Heights database, but it might not return any results, is what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay. So I would imagine that there's a lot of these type of searches, whether they're from Macomb County, state of Michigan, or nationwide, that are searching through our data on a daily basis, right?
Right, and you can also get several officers doing the search at the same time. If they get to be on the lookout from dispatch, there might be 10 officers on the road that all put it in so they can see if it hit our flock. So sometimes that increases the numbers.
Okay, so there was a question earlier by one of the council members about have we ever denied a search? So I guess I'm curious about that. How does that work? So if you're in a different state and you just search for this license plate, if it shows up, if there's a hit in Sterling Heights, I mean, do they have to ask us first whether they can search that or what? Or do they just, since we're friends with them on the software, they just automatically have access to it, or is there another layer of protection where we have to give approval?
As far as I know, as long as we establish the agreement, they can access our cameras data off of the search. Correct.
All right, so was it Mr. Radke who asked, was there ever been a search denied or a search request denied? How would that be relevant? Why would we get a search request? Can you walk me through that? Yeah, please.
So there's certain searches that would be blocked, as I indicated, for immigration or reproductive care. So if another state requests information from us, that information will be blocked at that level. We would not even get notification because the block would never even made it through to us.
Okay, so let's use the same example. Somebody from Colorado, for whatever reason, we're sticking with Colorado. They're searching for a license plate. They put the license plate number in. Now, on their end, do they have the same controls? Or is this like a uniform control where you have to have a case number, you have to have a legitimate reason, and then you can access the information, or might they have a different protocol entirely?
They could have different protocols, but we require at least a reason for their search. So they would be required to input that, and thus, if it made the requirement, like I said, for abortion or immigration only, then they would not even, that search wouldn't go through.
Okay. So that does lead to another question I had, is like, who decides whether the search is legitimate or not here?
It's just based off of what they enter for their reason for the search.
All right, give me an example, like what's the most common reason?
Hit and runs.
Hit and runs. Okay, so they could put hit and run, but they're really looking for immigration, right? And then we're not going to flag it, we're not gonna stop it. So I guess what I'm getting at is, let's say there's somebody in this other state that's running a search on a license plate. And the way it was described, I kind of got the impression that we wouldn't even really be notified if they searched the nationwide database. And that they're going to search through whatever data Sterling Heights has over the last 30 days. And if there's no hit, like, do we even get notified that that search happened?
So at any time, we can do an audit of our external agencies that went through us. Those audits will include that they looked through our system, but we will not know if it brought back any information to them that was relevant for what they were looking for. We just know that they hit nationwide and it went through our system.
So I guess, all right, I'm not trying to be difficult, but if they go in this other jurisdiction, thousands of miles away, go in, and they put in the reason for their search is for immigration enforcement purposes. You're saying the way the system is set up, it'll just automatically exclude Sterling Heights from the data set that they have access to?
It won't allow it to come through our system, correct?
Okay. Okay, and so what is when you say we've never denied a search request, are you saying there's never been a search request that our system would not allow? Or is there a human being that's looking at search requests and making a decision?
So that's a good question. So we're never advised of a request that was transmitted that wasn't allowed. The system doesn't let us know. It doesn't say Sterling Heights, city, anywhere, town, Texas, tried this and we didn't allow it. They don't notify us that they did not allow it.
Okay, but if you're a police officer in Texas and you're working an immigration case, and you can probably put something quite generic in there,
You could lie.
right?
You could lie.
Yeah. I'm not even sure it might necessarily be a lie. Like, I guess I'm not sure, I'll go to the presentation too, but I'm not sure what search queries are permitted and which are not. My guess is that there's a wide range of search queries that, you could sort of bend the truth and say, yeah, well, this guy also did something bad. Because that's, that's a lot of the excuses that I hear, is that, well, we're going after this guy not specifically because he's an immigrant, but because we think he did something else that was bad. Have any of our officers been disciplined for flock violations?
To my knowledge, no.
Do you know of any, Chief?
I do not.
Do you know of any officers that have been implicated in an investigation based on misuse of the flock system?
No, and Captain Bisdorf just came out of special investigation, so he'd have great knowledge on that.
Okay. There was a question by Ms. Sarowski, and she asked if Flock can access our data, and Chief, you said, no, they can't. How do you know that? How do you know they can't?
All we can go is by what they tell us, just like, how do I know Amazon isn't going into my data or Netflix isn't tracking me? I don't know. They tell me they're not. It is a company. If they are found out they do it, then that's a great reason. I mean, we could what if it to death, but I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I know, but it's complicated, right? So we've got 1,800 agencies that are using it. We've got a corporation that owns all of the hardware and is providing all of the software and is housing all of the data through a third party, which it sounds like it's Amazon. These are massive corporations that, I don't know. I mean, I don't trust what Amazon tells me. Okay, I don't believe them. I don't think there's any reason to believe them. I do agree with some of the comments up here that there's probably a far greater level of, like, you can get a higher resolution image of what somebody's doing on a day-to-day basis based on their cell phone usage and their credit card usage and maybe some other metrics. And for all I know, Stellantis is tracking what I'm doing when I'm driving my pickup truck. I hope not, but I don't know. I think, the reality is there might be mass intrusions into privacy happening. To Henry's point, like maybe he's more comfortable waiting to see abuse. I mean, abuse could be happening right now. We wouldn't even know it. So that is quite concerning. In terms of, is there any way for you to quantify, since we started to use the ALPRs, is there any way of quantifying how it's improved closing cases, stopping bad guys? I mean, I know you can come up here and tell us stories about that, and I very much believe you. I don't doubt that for a second, that this is a useful tool in solving crimes. That I don't think is reasonably in doubt, and the folks in this audience and in the many other public meetings throughout the state and country, I don't think they would reasonably deny that. But that's not where the inquiry ends, in my opinion. So the question, do you have any way of quantifying how useful it is as a tool compared to, you know, how often did these cases go unsolved before we used them?
Mayor, we don't, as of right now, we don't tally statistical data on the success of Flock, so we don't have the hard numbers that we could be able to provide you. It's word of mouth by our detectives that utilize that on a daily basis, that tell us that this is something that's valuable to them, that's something that they use. You talk to any one of our officers and they would be able to tell you that. But once again, statistically data, we don't capture it, but one of the things that we're trying to do on our transparency dashboard is monthly update with success stories so that the public can see and have an ear to what we're doing.
Well, look, I get that. I completely understand why you would do that. It's human nature to do that. But, you know, if it's just anecdotal evidence, it's not very much use to the public if it's just anecdotal evidence. If it's scientific data that's showing that these tools allow us to solve cases at a higher rate, these tools allow us to keep more children safe, then certainly I understand why you'd want to do that. But you can't tell me whether or not the difference in results is within a standard deviation of where it was before or not, because you just don't know. So it is, to me, a little bit problematic that we would project this as a like one of the most important police resources since DNA evidence, if we don't really know, if we can't say, look, these are the number of cases that we would have and the problems we would have before, and this is what we have now, this is the solve rate before, this is the solve rate now. So it's concerning, and all right, I'm gonna, as others have said, I have an open mind. We have some time to think about this, but I certainly appreciate you being here and answering my questions. So thank you guys both. Okay, with that,
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Radke.
may I ask a follow-up question?
Yeah, well, everybody can have maybe 1 minute if
Sure.
we need to.
Just two quick things. This is compared a lot to cell phones, but to take data off a cell phone, you need a warrant. This is a warrantless intrusion. On top of that, I would also ask without objection that we terminate any flock agreement we have with any community in the state or the country that has a 287G agreement, which means they're carrying out enforcement activities on behalf of ICE.
I would agree with that.
So without objection.
Is there any objection to that proposal? Okay.
Can it be repeated, please?
Sure. I ask that we terminate any flock access for any agency in this country that has signed a 287G agreement, which means that they will allow their officers to carry out enforcement activities on behalf of ICE.
Okay, hearing none, we'll need an ordinance? Or was it just? Direction. Just direction?
Okay.
Ordinance might be better.
That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay,
Mayor Taylor?
yeah,
They have to sign one. It's a federal document you fill out to be a 287G department.
Where is it located so the chief would be able to determine which agency has and which one doesn't? There's 1,800 of them.
I would assume it's something that departments would tout.
well, we'd like you to look into it and see if it can be determined what agencies have these agreements with the federal government and which don't, because that is something I didn't bring up, but it was a little unsettling, the discussion, I think it was with Councilwoman Schmidt about, it might not have been, but Okay, if another city has an if another city accesses it, then they have access to it. We can't control what they do with it. So, okay, anybody else have any, Mrs.?
Go ahead, it doesn't matter, okay. I guess my other feeling is, I'm going back to how businesses run, and we talk about it all the time, is that we don't want you to open a business, we want you to stay in business. So to me, okay, if there was one incident with Flock, the company misusing something from the 18,000 communities that are using this system, it would be the end of their business. 1,800. It could be the end of their business. So if they have one violation, their company's done. So I'm sure that has to be a consideration on how they operate. So that's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
Okay.
Mrs. Sarowski?
Thank you, Mayor Taylor, through the chair to the chief, or maybe even Captain Bisdorf. So to follow up on your question, Mayor Taylor, about can we get some data about successes, actual scientific data? It usually takes a hit and run or a kidnapping. It usually takes us 5 days to solve it, and with Flock, we've been able to solve it in a matter of a day or less. Does Flock collect that type of data? How do they sell their product? How do they prove that what are they using to prove or state that that product is going to improve our ability to solve crimes? And then if they are saying something, sorry, Chief, do they collect the data for it?
They don't collect our success stories. They
I
just
mean,
provide.
anybody's. I'm talking nationwide.
Not that I would be aware of. We can, going forward, start doing the check marks of Flock was instrumental in solving this case. And like I say, Flock alone doesn't solve a case.
No, I know that,
It's
but,
just one tool that leads the investigators down the road.
right, and I
But
understand
we
that.
can definitely start tracking that.
Yeah, and that would be good, I think, good data to have, but also I would, if I was marketing my product, I would want to say, it works because this is what it does. So I'm wondering if Flock does somehow collect some of that data.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, yeah, maybe we need to look into that, and I'm not sure who's looking into Flock right now, or Captain Bisdorf, do you have contacts with them daily,
Not daily, but
frequently?
I can.
Okay, could you see if that's a possibility for us? I appreciate that, thank you. That's all I have, Mayor.
Mrs. Schmidt?
Thank you, Mayor Taylor. Actually, that was one of my questions, if it would be possible for us to start collecting when a case is solved, if Flock was involved in solving that case. I think that would help prove to us that it is, the tool that everyone's making it out to be. I think right now Flock is under such a microscope that they would be foolish to do anything because everybody's watching. And quite frankly, I personally am more afraid of AI than I am of Flock. So I think AI is scarier than that. So that's all I have, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Schmidt. Anyone else? Okay, all good points. I would say, though, that, if we collect the data on when Flock helps solve a crime, should we also collect data on when Flock is accessed and it doesn't solve a crime? And, are we going to balance that information against each other? And look, I'm just very skeptical of big corporations, and they've given me plenty of reason to recently. And even when everybody's watching, there's people out there that, I won't mention, but everybody's watching them and they continue to do ridiculously stupid things. So that's not, to me, a safeguard. This is an issue that's not going away. And it's 3 months from now, 6 months from now, 12 months from now, Flock's not going to be beyond this. So, I think we all have to give strong consideration to what we're doing and what's the best path forward, and I'm sure we all are. So, all right, we'll move on to the next item on our agenda, which is a presentation. This is the police officer swearing-in ceremony.
They ran already, they're not
Welcome to
staying.
Sterling Heights. All right, so this is a swearing-in ceremony for new police officers, and we do have a presentation from our police chief, Chief Satterfield.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity to introduce and swear in our 4 newest members of our department. These 4 gentlemen come with some really good experience, and I'm really happy to have them on the force. They actually started on Monday, and I swore them in Monday to get their licensing going, but we're here today to do the swearing for you and their families. So if you gentlemen would please stand. I know you've been stuck in those chairs with your gun belts on. So first, to my right here, Officer Arthur Gillespie. Officer Gillespie spent 15 years as a well, he was in Detroit PD, where he left as a sergeant. He also spent about 6 months in Dearborn PD. He has his bachelor's degree in Human Resources and Training and Development from Oakland University. And we're happy to have him here at Sterling. Next to him is Officer Kevin Wilds. He has an associate's degree in criminal justice from St. Clair Community College. He's in the past 7 years, he's been with Clawson PD. He also spent a few years in Lexington PD, a year at Yale PD, and then with the St. Clair County Sheriff's Office and the Allegan County Sheriff's Office, where I believe you were reserved there, correct? Yeah. And then he is also an Army veteran, U.S. Army from 2005 to 2008, active duty, and then he also served as a U.S. Army reservist from 2009 till 2021. And then next to him, we have Officer Demario Walk. Demario has a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from Herzing University in Wisconsin. He had a concentration in Homeland Security and counterterrorism there. He spent 5 years at Detroit PD, and then he left and went to the Federal Bureau of Prisons in Texas from 2016 to 2025. Came back to Michigan, and he spent about 6 months to a year in Dearborn PD. And an interesting fact about him, he is going to be a military veteran, as he just joined, before he came to us, he joined the Air National Guard. So next June, he's going to be leaving for his basic training and advanced training, so he will also be a veteran with us. And then finally, we have Officer Robert Perowitz. He has his bachelor's degree in criminal justice in psychology from the University, criminal justice and psychology from the University of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He was in the U.S. Coast Guard from 2019 to 2023, and then he spent the last several years from 2023 at Marquette PD in the Upper Peninsula. Wow. So he is now coming to see how the trolls are below the bridge. So we're happy to have him as well. So, if you gentlemen would, please face me and raise your right hands. We'll now conduct the swearing-in ceremony. I state your name. Do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. And that of the state of Michigan. And that I will faithfully discharge the duties of police officer. In and for the city of Sterling Heights. And that I will strive to maintain the highest standards of this department. To the best of my knowledge and abilities. Congratulations. Now, we'd like to do the pinning of the badge, and we'd like to have their families do that. It's a really great recognition. So Officer Gillespie will be having his badge pinned on by his daughter Haley.
Don't stab him.
Hard that it looks.
Officer Wild is having his badge pinned on by his wife Alicia and daughter Olivia.
Oh, my goodness.
Itty bitty.
Get her up there.
Daughter and
Soon to be other
soon to be.
sister.
Officer Walk is having his badge pinned on by his wife, Ashanta.
All right.
And Officer Perowitz is having his badge pinned on by his wife, Megan. I'd like to give every officer a chance to address council.
Good evening. I want to just thank all the city officials here present and both at home for the opportunity to serve the city, the business owners, visitors, and everyone else who, crosses paths with us, and hopefully, we'll have a long, healthy, illustrious career and serve the city well. All right, thank you. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank everyone that helped me get to this point to be able to serve the city. It's a high honor to be here, and I'm looking forward to a long career.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mr. City Manager, Council men and women, Chief Satterfield. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity of being here. Coming back to Michigan was a great opportunity. Come back and serving the city of Sterling Heights is going to be amazing. I hope to be productive and keep Sterling Heights, continue to keep Sterling Heights the safest city in Michigan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity and for the experience to be a troll again, so I appreciate it.
I'm sure you guys all have some words of wisdom, and if you'd like to meet him afterwards, that'd be great.
Absolutely. Council, would like Mrs. Sarowski.
Thank you, Mayor Taylor. So, wow, so much experience on all these guys. That's amazing. We obviously stole from a lot of other departments. They're not very happy with us, but that's okay. We're very happy to have you all, and thank you for being here. Police officers and any first responders really hold a very special place in my heart. I'm a nurse, so taking care of people is always something, and understanding the dynamics of people in their crises. So that's something I always understand about my son. And my husband's retired military. My son is currently serving as a lieutenant colonel in the Marine Corps, specialist in security. So he was in charge of Eastern Seaboard, and now he's going to be teaching, so that about him. But what I'm trying to make a point is that you guys are very important to myself, but also the city. You are very much our front line. You keep us safe. You find things and see things that we don't ever want to see, and that's the way it is in the world, is that the police officers really take on such a heavy load for everybody else. So thank you. Thank you very much for your service. Thank you very much for what you are bringing to the city and to the families of these officers. This is, it's a lot. It's a lot to be a family member of someone who puts their life on the line every single day. And so thank you for sharing them with us. Thank you for supporting them and being here with them. And we are a great city. We have the citizens really, really have a very high appreciation for our officers. We have a great department. Chief runs a very wonderful ship, and I'm very happy to have you here. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Sarowski. Council, Mrs. Schmidt.
Thank you, Mayor Taylor. Well, welcome to the family, because that's what we are, and we're not always, sometimes we're dysfunctional, but that's okay. That's how we sometimes get things done, is by having differences of opinion and working through it. You will not find a better community to work for. This community loves you, supports you. We give you the tools you need to do your job and to stay safe. And we wish you nothing but the best. Stay safe. Godspeed, and I hope you are with us for many, many years to come. Thank you.
Mr. Radke.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to welcome you officers. The chief has brought us the best again, and we really appreciate him for that. We have, as you watched this whole conversation, we have very high standards here, and we're going to expect you to meet those standards, but we're going to give you everything you need to keep this community safe, because our residents support the police. They believe highly in what we're doing. We're a safe community because we have the confidence of the residents. So I expect the best of you. I know you're going to give it to us. If you need something, we're all here. We're all willing to listen. I mean, your experience speaks for itself. You've all been successful somewhere else, and we're sure you're going to be successful here. So I appreciate your families lending you to us to keep our citizens safe. If you need anything, please contact us. I'm sure you're all going to have long careers here. Stay safe out there. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Radke. Mr. Majak.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Welcome aboard. Thanks so much for choosing to work in Sterling Heights. Thanks for your public service author. Kevin, Robert, thank you for your military service. I have to thank you on that. Demario, you're going into basic training now, so good luck with that. We're here to help you in any way, and thanks so much for coming here to work, so appreciate it. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Majak. Mr. Yanes?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll keep this short. Congratulations on selecting Sterling Heights and having Sterling Heights select you to be here in the police department. This is a great department to work for. It's a great city to work for. I'm a former employee, and you're going to have a great career here. We try to provide you with everything you need to keep you safe so you go home at night. And after 25 years and you put your time in, you'll have a good retirement, and you'll be thankful that you chose Sterling Heights to come and finish your career. So again, congratulations, and good luck to you. That's all I have.
Mrs. Zarko.
Thank you, Mayor Taylor. First of all, I'm last, so now I have to come up with something different than everybody else has said. We go through this a lot of times, but you know, it happens. Yeah, either the Z or just the end, yeah. But I'm not complaining, because first of all, I'm really glad that you chose Sterling Heights as your place to come and work. You are going to be keeping us safe, but we're going to do everything we can to keep you safe, because we want to make sure that you go home to your families every night. So if there's anything that we can do to make your life better, we plan to do it. It is, as Mrs. Smith says, sometimes we're a very dysfunctional family, but we get the work done, we get the job done. And if you were here a couple of weeks ago for Sterling Fest, you'll know that our community loves our police department, that when we bring the community together, it's one really big family that's out there. And it's a joy to watch. And as you get to meet people in the community, you're going to find the same way. They're very accepting. So I wish you all luck. I wish you to be safe out there. If you need anything, we're here for you. Like I said, and then we're just people. I mean, we sit here as elected officials, but basically we are just ordinary people, and we all hope that you treat us that way. So, and one more thing is for Robert, is my favorite place in Marquette is the Ordoc. See, I told you I'd come up with something different. So anyway, thank you for being here, and we look forward to seeing more of you. And maybe in private, I'd like to talk to you and see if you come from communities that use flock cameras. Nothing further.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Zarko, and thank you, council, for the comments. Guys, I don't have much more to add to that. I want to thank you all for being here. I appreciate that you've chosen Sterling Heights to continue your career in. I want to say to the families that are here, please continue to give them your love, support. You know how difficult this job is. These are not, these are men that have been on the force for some time now, so you know what they go through. They're going to continue to need your love and support. And I just want to say, Officer Wilds, I think it is, the way your daughter was clinging on to you, don't let her go. Don't let her go, because your colleague to your left is going to tell you, she came and did a beautiful job pinning the badge on her father, but man, they grow up quick, and they're not clinging on to you as much as they did in the past.
Not at 16, no.
So just enjoy it, and guys, thank you for your service here to the city of Sterling Heights. Our residents truly appreciate you. Stay safe out there, keep us safe, and God bless, okay? One more big round of applause for these four new guys. we're gonna take about a 5 to. Yeah, we can go down and shake their, I'm gonna say we're gonna take a 5 or 10-minute recess, and why don't we go down there and shake their hands?
Okay.
Okay? All right, we'll stand in recess.
according to the plans.
All right, calling this meeting back to order. We'll move on to the next item on our agenda tonight, which is the consent agenda. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak on any item on tonight's consent agenda? Yes, sir? No, the presentations are not really, not like an agenda item. I will say, what we do in Sterling Heights is we let you speak, we allow participation and public comment on every other business item, agenda item, but not on presentations. So, yeah, so this is, so, but you'll have an opportunity to talk after, during the citizens' comments, okay? But anybody on, anything on the consent? If not, council, we need a motion.
Mayor Taylor,
Mrs. Zarko.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Been moved and supported with no discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Funny.
He finally beat you.
He beat me.
Beat you. Now, we've always sort of had this, we've always sort of had this unwritten rule, Mr. Myjack, of who does the consent.
No, you're good.
Break it up a little bit.
Broken the seal now.
Today, he's good. One day out of the year.
Something. That's very good. All right.
Inside
Anyway,
joke.
moving on.
Good, man.
All right, next item tonight is a consideration item. This is to consider a request to transfer ownership of an escrow 2026 Class C license with entertainment permit from Ladone's Bar and Grill LLC, transfer location from 51070 DW Seaton Drive, Chesterfield to 42108 Van Dyke Avenue, Sterling Heights, new SDM license in conjunction issued under MCL 436-150-15335A, non-transferable, new Sunday sales permit AM, new Sunday sales permit PM for the Class C license, spirits and mixed spirit drink, new Sunday sales permit PM for the SDM license, mixed spirit drink. I don't know, is there another page?
Seriously,
We're
it's
done.
like a planning commission.
Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak on this item? Is the petitioner here, the applicant? Is there anything you want to say to us? You can, if you want to present anything, you're welcome to. I know my colleagues will likely have questions about the operation, the food, your experience. So if you want to give us some background now, that's great. If not, you don't have to.
Sure, it's a new business, it's a pool hall we just opened. We don't have alcohol yet, we have snacks, cold food, but a lot of customers are coming in, they're asking for alcohol because everybody's a shooting pool, they wanna have a drink, like a beer or something, you know, and helps them stay longer, spend more money, so it helps the business a lot,
Okay,
yes.
all right. So sit tight. We'll probably have questions for you. Anyone else on this item? If not, council, we need a motion.
Mayor Taylor?
Mrs. Sarowski.
Lord, I have to read that whole thing. Okay, then you know me in numbers. Here we go. Resolved that the request to transfer ownership of an escrowed 2026 Class C license with entertainment permit from Ladone's Bar and Grill LLC, transfer location from 51070 DW Seaton Drive, Chesterfield, to 42108 Van Dyke Avenue, Sterling Heights, transfer governmental unit under MCL 436.1531, parentheses, 1, from Chesterfield Township to Sterling Heights, new SDM license in conjunction, issued under MCL 436.1533, parentheses 5, parentheses A, non-transferable new Sunday sales permit, AM, new Sunday sales permit, PM, for the Class C license, spirits and mixed spirit drink, new Sunday sales permit, PM, for the SDM license, mixed spirit drink, be considered for approval.
Support. Been moved and supported. Any discussion, Mrs. Sarowski?
No, I think this is, a pool hall is, you know, we have a couple in the city, but not a whole lot. So I think they're always interesting and nice, and they're a great community place for a lot of people, especially those that shoot pool. I used to know somebody who was a professional pool player way back in the day. And so, yeah, I'm very happy to support this.
All right, Mr. Radke, anything?
Just briefly, sir, could you come up? what is the name of your pool hall? What's the
Palm
name of your-
Billiards.
Sorry?
Palm
Palm
Billiards.
And it's
Yes.
at, right down the street here, right? At
18 and a half in Van Dyke.
18 Van Dyke, right?
18 and a half.
18 and a half.
Right, as soon as if you're going north, right when you pass that roundabout to the
Okay,
right-hand
Lucy
side.
Center? Okay.
Yes,
Well, tremendous. Well,
thank you.
I have no problem to oppose this. I think that this is going to be a successful business. It seems to me that years ago when I was younger, we had pool halls, and then they kind of went out of business, or they stopped. Now we have a sudden influx of new ones. I hope kids and adults have fun.
Yes.
I guess I'm going to ask you, how are you going to moderate between the children and adults, and how are you going to apply this to make sure that you're serving alcohol only to adults?
Oh, we have to check IDs. Everybody that order alcohol, we check IDs, make sure they're over 21. We own the beer and wine store next door, so we do the same thing. We've been there for over 9 years. We haven't had a ticket. We haven't had any violations, so we always ask IDs, make sure everybody's old enough to drink.
I appreciate that, and I think that, I wish you much success. I think it'll be a successful business.
Thank you.
If you have experience with that and you have no violations, let's not start. I think it's
Oh,
great.
no, I'm not trying to.
I'm sure you'll do well, and
Thank
I
you.
have no problem with this
Thank you.
transfer. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you, Ms. Schmidt.
Thank you, Mayor Taylor. Through the chair to the petitioner, so will your employees be going through the TIPS and TAMs program
Yes.
as required by the
Yes.
state?
Yes, I already have one. I already got mine, and whoever we hire is gonna have to have the tips, and they have to take the test, of course.
Okay, and are you planning on being hands-on in the facility?
Yes,
or-
we're always there. We own the shopping center also,
Right.
so we're always there.
Okay. Well,
Yes.
you utilized an empty building. so-
Yes, yes, so everything is, most of everything there is ours, so we're always in there.
So you mentioned snacks. So are you planning on, bringing in hot food or?
Hot food, not now, maybe eventually in the
So you
future.
have no kitchen facility?
No kitchen facility. We have cold food. We're gonna have cold food, like cold sandwiches, cold
So
salads.
packaged stuff.
Yes. And now, everything, they have like food trucks everywhere, so
Yeah.
if anything, we can always have a food truck outside.
Great
and then
idea, great
That's a good
idea.
idea for
Okay.
hot food, so we don't have to deal with that.
Perfect. And, we just recently approved another billiards hall, but at opposite ends of the city. So that's kind of nice that.
Yeah, they're all over now, so
Yeah,
it's okay, it's good.
so
Hopefully, everybody does good,
You won't be competing, so.
No, it's okay, it's
all
okay.
right.
I hope
have
everyone
nothing
does
further,
good.
Mayor.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Schmidt.
Mayor Taylor?
Mrs. Zarko.
Okay, first of all, I wish you nothing but good luck. I think it sounds like it's going to be a great opportunity for people to come in and revive billiards again, and competition, and so I wish you nothing but luck. But my one question is, through the chair to the petitioner, has the state already approved your license?
Yes, the
Okay.
conditional. They gave me a
Right.
conditional approval. I emailed to the city. I have it here also.
Okay, and the reason why I say that is because the city is actually just acknowledging that approval. We could all say no, but you still have your license. So I just want you to know that, but we're not gonna say no.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
you.
Once the state tells you you have a license, that you're just here making it a very formal presentation and being friendly about it. So,
Yes.
I wish you nothing but luck, and,
Thank you.
I think it's great that you have something going on in the entire shopping center, so
Yes.
that's pretty
Thank you,
cool.
thank you.
Anyway,
Thank you.
so welcome to the city.
Thank you.
Council, anyone else? If not, yeah, congrats, good
Thank you.
luck. We wish you nothing but the best there, and hope it's a very successful business for you guys.
Thank you very much.
All right?
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, council, with no further discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next up is to consider appointments to the City of Sterling Heights boards and commissions. Is there anyone who'd like to speak on this item? If not, council, we have two boards. Both are city council appointments. One is for the Arts Commission and one is for the Youth Advisory Board. We'll take the Youth Advisory Board first. Is there an appointment to be made? If not, why don't we postpone to the second meeting in September?
So moved. Support.
It's been moved and supported with no discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And second is the Arts Commission. Is there anyone who has an appointment there? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to postpone to the September 15th City Council meeting.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported with no discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor Chair, excuse me.
Mrs. Zarko.
Through the chair to Mr. Koszywski, even though we have, it says council appointment, the mayor could still appoint somebody if he knew of somebody that wanted to be on these other commissions, couldn't he? No, he doesn't just do his own, because he is part of the council. So I know there's certain positions that, it's by his recommendation, but I cannot, it says, but, council, so why, the mayor has some ideas in the future, we'd be happy to listen to them.
I'll tell you what, I got one for the Youth Advisory Board.
Okay.
I got
Oh, all right, we'll do that.
But I can't make a motion.
I'll make the motion for you.
Okay. Thank you.
See, we're
You should have
dysfunctional.
said something earlier.
Point of order, Mr. Mayor.
I think there needs to be an application first.
Okay,
No random people.
Wait,
Okay.
all right.
All right, anything else?
oh my God.
We can move on now to communications from citizens. Is there anyone in the audience that wants to talk about something that was not on the agenda tonight? Remember, flock cameras, they were on the agenda, so, kidding. Yes, sir. Come on up.
Speak your mind.
They weren't.
They were
They're
not.
not.
So you are welcome to talk about flock cam. And listen, I do appreciate there, I assume there'll be a number of people who want to talk about flock cameras. It's your 4 minutes, you have 4 minutes to talk. Use it how you wish, but I will just say, from our perspective, from the 7 of us, we appreciate if there's new information being brought up by each speaker. If you're just going over the same information, it does kind of get sort of lost. So just keep that in mind, but it is your 4 minutes.
Yeah, there were a couple of points that I will reiterate, and that is that the data is in the cloud, okay? And there's been a lot of talk this evening about your system and, the possible abuse by your officers, which frankly, I think is unlikely. It isn't your officers that pose a threat, okay? They're trying to do law enforcement. There are other parties that are not so enamored with the law that have access to that data, okay, through the cloud. Flock is a data broker. They're really not interested in selling systems to you. They're selling data nationwide. Okay, there are parties that will pay dearly for that information, and they are doing it. Okay, they have violated every tenet of practically every contract by exposing municipalities' data to other parties. That's how they make their money. That's their business model. Okay, there are communities here in Michigan who caught them at it, and they have canceled their contracts. Okay, that would be Ferndale, Milford, Clawson, Westland. And Flock wouldn't even take the cameras down. They haven't turned them off. They had to put garbage bags over them. I would suggest that you talk to those police departments and those councils and find out what really gives with Flock. Because there's a lawsuit in California right now, okay, in San Francisco. The data was accessed 1.6 million times. That's not law enforcement queries. Okay, that's other types of queries. Okay, and that was in defiance of a state statute. Flock doesn't even care about the law, much less your contract. They have proven themselves again and again not to be trustworthy. They had a pilot program, initially denying that they had anything to do to share the data with ICE. And when they were caught at it, they finally conceded that, oh yeah, it was a pilot program. How about a permanent pilot program with complete unfettered access to all of your data, everyone's data, all the time? That's who you're dealing with Flock. We're not against cameras for law enforcement. Okay, that's a good thing. But when it goes beyond that, and when it melds with all the other data in the cloud, all your digital life, your phone records, your family, your contacts, your finances, that is a threat. That's an authoritarian tool. And no one should perpetuate a contract with Flock. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Anyone else under communications from citizens? I'll get you in the red. I'll get you next. He's already coming up.
So, good evening. My name is Philip. So, we all saw that presentation, and we all know how it works now. But what was not shown is any proof that this makes the city safer. Why do we think that is? So Mayor Taylor asked a very good question, if there's any quantifying data on how useful this tool is. So I found the data, I went and looked. The FBI makes data on solve or clearance rates publicly available through a tool called the Crime Data Explorer. So I looked at the clearance rates for Sterling Heights. So Sterling Heights flock contract is dated August of 2022. I looked at clearance rate data in the 4 years before flock, 2019 to 2022, and the 3 years after flock, from 2023 to 2025. Chief Satterfield said that flock technology is probably one of the most important, useful law enforcement tools since the advent of fingerprint and DNA matching. So I was expecting I was going to see the police just putting up numbers ever since the flock was implemented. But adding up over 24,000 cases over these 7 years, the combined clearance rate of these cases has gone from 34% in the 4 years before flock to 30% in the 3 years after flock. We put up this system, and we saw a 4% decrease in crime solve rates. The most telling thing I noticed was that the larger the sample size of any given crime, the more the clearance rate tended to stay the same or even decrease post-flock. So, for example, motor vehicle theft. This system tracks cars. If there were any crime that was going to test the effectiveness of the car tracking system, it would be this one. So in the 4 years pre-flock, there were 719 cases of motor vehicle theft in Sterling Heights, 49 solves for a 6% clear rate. In the 3 years post-flock, there were 708 cases of motor vehicle theft, 45 solves for a clear rate of 6%. Now, this one actually made me mad. I want to know how this is even possible. Like, if the police are putting every car and driver through a massive AI surveillance dragnet, how are we not finding more stolen cars? Can anyone answer that question for me?
Not on the road.
Now, this shoplifting is another one that surprised me because bigger stores have also been putting up flock cameras and AI security towers. Last meeting, Detective St. Ange said that they use flock for retail crimes all the time. But there were 1,275 cases of shoplifting pre-flock, 674 solves for a 52% clearance rate. Post-flock, we saw 1,447 cases, 595 solves for a 41% clearance rate. So after flock, we had more cases of shoplifting and the solve rate went down. Again, how is this possible? If they're using flock to solve shoplifting all the time, why is our solve rate going down? Now, I want to be clear, there weren't just universal decreases across the board. In regards to homicide, in the 4 years before flock, there were 6 homicides with 33% clear rate, and after flock, there were 3 homicides with 100% clear rate. Now, the only reason I bring this up is because I don't want to be accused of cherry picking, but I also want to get ahead of any, after flock, we had the murder solve rate go way up. No, the number's gone from 2 to 3. We can't even be sure that without flock, these cases would not have been solved. So even if crimes were getting solved left and right with the system, I still wouldn't want it. But the fact that crimes are not getting solved left and right with the system, I question why we have it. Why are we paying for it? Why are we putting every driver through an AI surveillance network? Why are we risking data mismanagement, flock's misuse, or any other sort of risks associated with this? So I think it's a fair question, and I think the people deserve an answer about that for why we have this. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Thank you. Next.
Hi, my name's Taboo. I wanted to bring some additional stats from the ACLU about Flock, and not just Flock, but there's also other companies like Axion. We don't want them to just come in and replace Flock if you guys choose not to renew their contract. It's the overall warrantless surveillance that we have a problem with. But less than 1% of cars scanned by automatic license plate readers are connected to any crime or wrongdoing, and 1 in 10 license plates scanned by Flock license plate readers misread the state. This has led to incidents across the country, including an incident recently where someone was stopped by police officers with guns drawn. And in addition to the stats about Flock, just the people who work at the company, there have been people who have quit the company in the last year and a half, speaking out against Flock's access and the access that the company has and that they were sharing, as the first gentleman stated, as they were sharing with ICE. They say that this is stopped, but we have no way of confirming this. And we heard from the chief earlier that they have no idea of which agencies out of the 1,800 that we're friends with have these 287G agreements. It seems like there is an overall lack of accountability with the system. There's no affirmative approval, just automatic. And in addition to that, the other vulnerabilities that have been brought up include some discovered by a white hat hacker group. They can access the flock cameras in less than 60 seconds through the root access. This has caused a lot of consternation amongst Senator Ron Wyden and Representative Ro Khanna. They have opened an inquiry into it for the vulnerabilities, including black market sales of police logins on the Russian dark web, and other stolen police logins, operational misuse such as stalking and abuse. And this isn't just coming from me. This is currently a representative and a senator looking into it because these abuses seem to be very prevalent. I'll end my comments there, but I'm against any form of warrantless surveillance, including any other alternatives to flock that you might look at next, because there are other companies who are just replacing flock in some of these communities, and it's pretty much the same thing. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Anyone else under communications?
Hold on.
Good evening, Council. It is a pleasure to be with all of you here tonight. I'm here tonight to urge Council and your fine city to discontinue business with flock safety at the upcoming end of your current contract. In South Warren, where I'm from, 80% of the flock cameras are lumped on my side of town, most of them positioned at 8 Mile. Aside from the obvious racial and economic connotations of their distribution in a former sundown town, I've noticed something else. Last week, I witnessed cars driving aggressively and unpredictably, about an hour apart. Both times turned out to be marked and unmarked police cruisers using bike lanes to travel, forcing traffic onto the curb and killing their lights once clear of the intersection. I suspect these instances were caused by flock hits as the cars raced westwards toward the Mound and Ryan Road cameras. There are going to be more traffic fatalities caused by flock in Warren. How many flock hits does the Sterling Heights PD get a day, and what is the response posture to these calls? If it's like what I'm witnessing, you may also have tragedies of your own to contend with soon. The public hates these systems, and with good reason. But what to do? Build a system of your own. Flock is undeniably an untrustworthy vendor, but switching to another will lead down the very same path. We need a municipally developed and administered system that stores and shares data locally, one that does not use the loophole of a private corporation to bypass Fourth Amendment protections and endanger the very rule of law. Your city is full of talent. Use it to develop your own system. Put the majority of public fears to rest and demonstrate what progress can be made with an eye to the future. You are spending $3,000 a year to rent a camera that cost Flock $800 to make. If you could build a system that costs $10,000 a camera, it's paid for itself in 3 years and could last far beyond that. Mark my words, every police department and city trapped in the Flock ecosystem will pay through the nose once they inevitably jack up the price on a system police are now heavily dependent on. If you have not heard, recent reporting, Flock's very own headquarters city of Atlanta, they have 5,000 cameras installed there. And similar to what another person has said, their clearance rate of homicide, robbery, miscellaneous larceny, and shoplifting have actually decreased in the last 4 years. And that's with 5,000 cameras. It's their full build out. Case closures there fell 5.4%. In my dealings with the city of Warren, Sterling Heights is spoken of as the rival that will continue to innovate and overshadow our city until taking our pointless title of Michigan's third largest city. Please show yourselves worthy of that praise and do what they refuse to do. Engage and listen to the voices of your people. Prove to them you deserve their faith. There is an opportunity here, and the first city with the vision and courage to set the trend will be a model for the rest to follow. Become the hub to a new regional partnership that communities can stand behind. Save some money, be an innovator, and show Macomb County what it looks like to be a leader. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, sir. Anyone else in the back?
Good evening. I am here to ask that the city reconsider its investment in flock safety license plate reader cameras. Before proceeding, I would like to establish that my anti-flock perspective should not be misconstrued as a disrespectful jab or a criticism of our local police department. They do an outstanding job day in and day out protecting this community. Their competence is not my concern. Rather, my concerns are more focused on whether the continuation and potential future expansion of this automated surveillance is necessary for a city like Sterling Heights. You have to ask yourselves, do the benefits outweigh the costs and the risks? Flock cameras are often promoted as a crime-fighting tool. This capability causes many people to throw on blinders and overlook issues that arise through the implementation of flock. Flock and similar technologies are not infallible. Automatic license plate readers can generate false alerts because of camera misreads, similar looking characters on license plates, or incorrect information that is entered in by human hands. Both human and system errors have contributed to documented incidences, while innocent motorists were stopped after their vehicles were mistakenly flagged. Significant accuracy problems with deployment in other cities across the country are currently illustrating that real-world performance can definitely differ from testing conditions. In fact, some audits in other areas returned data that showed algorithmic error rates as high as 71%. So while I appreciate that the Sterling Heights City Council called for an audit of the logs and the data collected so far, I wonder, with such a significantly high error rate being displayed, how is the technology deemed beneficial and worth investing in? In addition to being a system full of inaccuracies and prone to producing errors, implementing flock systems also sets a dangerous precedent for misuse and abuse by those in positions of authority. In at least 13 states across the country, severe cases of misuse and abuse has taken place. In Milwaukee, police officers were criminally charged. Sorry, I lost my spot. Criminally charged after allegedly using Flock's system to track individuals for personal reasons, such as stalking old romantic partners, rather than utilizing the system for legitimate law enforcement purposes. Similar cases have been reported in other jurisdictions. These incidences do not mean every officer will misuse the system, but they do show that the dark side of the system's capabilities. Human and algorithmic errors are not the only major issue, though. The level of liability that exists by integrating flock systems into city infrastructure is higher than I think a lot of you might think or believe. Recently, Flock changed their standard contract language, which removed language stating that it would not sell customer data. In addition to this contractual language change, other changes included expanding its licensing rights over customer data and added a perpetual license allowing continued use of said data even after contracts were terminated. The ambiguities of the contract language and the lack of accountability stated in the contract language should not be easily dismissed or minimized. At a minimum, these changes deserve careful legal review before any additional dollars are committed to the expansion of Flock within the city. With approximately 24 cameras in the area, the city is committing tens of thousands of dollars every year for the system, and those costs will only increase with future expansion or price changes. It is currently estimated that each Flock camera costs around $2,500 to $3,000 a year. Those dollars can add up quickly. I
right,
believe
ma'am.
residents deserve a clear demonstration that this level of surveillance and fiscal investment in the technology is necessary in this city.
All right, thank you for your comments, appreciate it. Anyone else? Yes, sir?
Hello, I'm Kenny. I live in Warren, and I come to Sterling Heights often to shop, watch a movie, or even just to pass through to visit family. I, like many other members of the community, have a lot of serious concerns about the mass surveillance. These concerns are only exacerbated by the fact that our data is being handed over to a private for-profit company, like Flock, where there's no oversight to ensure that our community is protected. Flock has a history of deceiving local governments. They lied to multiple communities when they claimed that no federal agents had access to the network despite having contracts with Customs and Border Protection and the Department of Homeland Security. Flock lied to communities when they claimed that they do not build heat maps tracking movements of individuals. When communities have canceled Flock contracts, Flock has refused to remove their cameras and continue to track people's movements against the orders of the local governments. Flock employees are not supposed to have access to these surveillance footage. However, access logs show that they do. Just this year, Flock employees were found to have accessed cameras in a children's gymnastics room. Why are we giving this company our tax dollars to spy on our children? Shady business practices aside, the technology itself has had serious security incidents. Last year, an investigator was able to find a vulnerability that granted him unrestricted access to live feeds of Flock cameras from across the nation. The feeds were unencrypted and did not require a password to access. He referred to it as the Netflix for stalkers. I work in tech. My company handles private user data every single day. If we operated with this complete disregard for safety and security like Flock does, we would be out of business immediately. But I also have concerns with how the Sterling Heights Police Department responded to a FOIA request. In the response, the captain claimed that their audits can only cover 1 month of data. In your department's ALPR policy, as it's written and published today, audits are supposed to cover the past 12 months of search requests. So for years, the department has had an unenforceable policy, according to your own captain in a written report. This raises a lot of red flags for me. There's a constant flood of reports coming in where this mass surveillance data is being abused to stalk people. Cities have become legally and financially liable when Flock systems misidentify cars, leading to wrongful arrests or guns drawn on innocent civilians. With all of this happening, any appearance of impropriety is deeply troubling and puts the community, including the police department, at risk. If the police department cannot perform adequate audits, then how can we trust that the system is not being abused? Of course, none of this would be an issue at all if you canceled the contract and removed the cameras. The department operated just fine before Flock, and I have no doubt that they will continue to do good work after Flock is gone. Now, just to address a few points that were brought up today, Flock absolutely has the ability to see the images they capture. They own the cameras, they own the servers, they just sell us the ability to access the data. Outside departments are regularly doing searches at the behest of ICE. There have even been reports of officers sharing login credentials with ICE directly. This is not a question of if or when, it's already happening. Just like with ICE, outside departments are already tracking women across state lines to see if they access reproductive care. Many officers use nonsensical reasons when conducting searches, like testing or hamburger. How is that useful in blocking search requests if you're blocking only specific queries? Do our block queries also help capture spelling mistakes? If someone spells it immigration, do we capture that? Or do we only check specific queries? Like one of your council members said, Flock seems to be using our local police departments as their salespeople. This happened in Warren, and it seems to be happening here too. And the shady practice of sneaking Flock discussions into the agenda without anyone knowing seems to be a common practice as well. Automated license plate reader, that's a very deceptive name. Flock's own website says, no plate, no problem. It can identify your car just based on the make and model, by dents, bumper stickers. It doesn't care if it has a plate access at all. And just because our other companies are invading our personal privacy every day, doesn't mean we should invite other companies to. And like others have said, there's been no independent studies showing that Flock has helped reduce crime. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Anyone else under communications from citizens?
Good evening. My name is Aaron. I was born and raised in Sterling Heights. I went to University of Michigan, and I have a degree in computer engineering. I work in Sterling Heights, just a couple miles down the road. for a company that sells cameras to hospitals and laboratories. And I write the software to power those products and solutions. And I design the systems architecture to house the data for those images of very sensitive, HIPAA-compliant data. So I'm pretty familiar with the importance of data security, and I have to answer a lot of security questionnaires for hospitals and laboratories, nationwide and globally. My question to all you is, are you just going to take what I said at face value, right? I could have just made all that up. I didn't, but you have no reason to trust me when I say all those things. And so I hope that you all do the due diligence of looking into what people are saying across the board. What I'm saying, what everyone else that's spoken in the public comment period today, whatever statements Flock have stated publicly, anything from the police department as well, because I'm sure a lot of the things that the police department will say is just information that they gotten from Flock and that they potentially just trusted at face value. So I think it's really important that you really dig into deep everything that you've been seeing, hearing, and reading, so that way you can validate as much as you can about Flock and AI and anything in general about tools that the city uses. One of the things I've heard a lot from elected officials that I've been talking to recently is the mutual aid aspect. Sterling Heights is obviously not the only one with Flock, and so Sterling Heights having Flock and Warren and any other cities nearby that they have mutual aid with, it collectively helps solve crime across all these cities, right? That is not a reason to keep a technology that is either A, not as effective as it seems to be, or B, is doing more harm than it's worth, right? You don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, but technology that can be used by bad actors is a serious risk, and the vulnerabilities of as other people have mentioned are very, very real vulnerabilities. I am optimistic at the open-mindedness of this council. I really appreciate the questions that you guys asked, and I really appreciate just your skepticism. I think having a healthy level of skepticism is really, really important, especially with technology that's this powerful. So, thank you for your time.
All right, thank you, sir. You are a member of the public.
She's not, she's running
You
out.
don't have to talk if you don't want to. Anyone else under communications? Yes, sir.
Hi, Council. Y'all know me. My name is Benjamin Arjada. I'm a lifelong resident of Sterling Heights. I love this city. I have been here more than 30 years now, and my family has been here that whole time. And I think one of the things that is most beautiful about Sterling Heights, most special and truly unique to our city, is trust. I have been able to trust that my power is on, that my waste gets taken care of on time, that if I have a problem, I can rely on our police department, that I know that our police have gone through exemplary levels of training, gotten basically every certification that they could through the Michigan State Police. And I know that they show up to all these different community events that I get to meet, new cultures and new residents of our city, folks that I simply don't get to see when I go to community events in other cities like ours. And for them, it's also about trust. For people who are from vulnerable populations, people who have a reason from other states and other spaces to be afraid of the police, They know they're safe here, and we have built this relationship. We have built this trust. We have spent decades and thousands, tens of thousands of man-hours of effort to build this relationship in a way that you cannot find elsewhere. We've had commissions like the Community Alliance that have allowed our city to become something truly, truly magnificent. And I am afraid. Honestly, I'm kind of terrified that we're going to poison that we're going to lose that in a way that we can't get back. And it won't matter how much investment we get from like the Chamber of Commerce or businesses or multinational corporations. The trust doesn't come back that easily. And I implore this council to stand against flock, to stand against mass surveillance at large here, because we're seeing it's not, as you've heard from many others tonight, it's not improving our crime solve rate, but it's alienating the very people who have made the city special. We have immigrant families that are less comfortable in the grand national political climate. They're less comfortable to come out and participate in the public, to participate in our community. And that is something that we have gone time and time again to try through our Community Alliance and other spaces to try to make sure that we keep Sterling Heights safe. And we're going to damage that. And it's not even going to be our officers' fault that we're going to lose that trust. It's going to be bad actors in other states. We've got officers out in Oregon who decided that in the audit reason of why am I searching this person up, they wrote LOL. And that's the verbatim answer they put in is why to search somebody. They just wrote sus. They just wrote investigation. We have officers down in Texas who chose to write missing person as their reason for a search. No, they were investigating an abortion case. And so we have officers in other states that are going to use pretenses that are unjustified and not reflective of their true values. And we have a corporation that is, as someone else kindly brought up, it's changed their data policies to be able to mass market us. I have faith and I have trust in this council to stand with Sterling Heights residents, to protect the most vulnerable, because you guys protected me when you passed the local version of the Elliott Larson Civil Rights Act expansion. You protected LGBT rights, you protect immigration rights, and I count on you now to protect the rights of privacy for our city. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Rojada. Anyone else under communications from citizens? If not, I'll close that portion. Okay, come on up, sir.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. I'm here tonight as a retired police lieutenant with over 26 years of law enforcement experience. Today, I continue to serve as an investigator and a crime analyst in Southeast Michigan. I'm addressing you tonight regarding the future funding of the flock camera system. I use this specific technology weekly, and I have for over 3 years. I know its capabilities, I know its privacy safeguards, and I know the direct impact on public safety. Based on a lifetime of dealing with criminal behavior, I know for certain this one thing: failing to renew this contract will undoubtedly make the city of Sterling Heights less safe. You know, I got this, I'm not even going to read from that anymore. I've heard a lot of information from people talking about the negativities of flock. They talk about data harvesting. They talk about information being sold on the dark web. They talk about privacy concerns. Let me tell you a quick story. A 90-year-old lady who went grocery shopping came home. She still drives good. She came home, was unloading groceries in her house. When she's unloading groceries, she notices there's a man inside of her house now who was just outside driving a U-Haul truck. He wants to help her with groceries. She says, please leave. He says, I'll leave, and he takes her purse with her. She called our police, and we were there within 3 minutes. That U-Haul truck was gone. 19 different police cars were in that area from our agency and another agency looking for that U-Haul truck, and we couldn't find it. It was gone. Case closed. What do we do at this point? Check every U-Haul in the state of Michigan? We used the flock system. I used it. It took me 2 days, but I used it, and I ended up finding him. It's just a tool. I had to keep on advancing. I had to find out where he rented the truck from, but I found that out, and it turns out he's a habitual criminal. He's been doing this to the elderly in 3 different states, and he had a case in Sterling Heights. He's been victimizing people, all of them elderly. He's got videos of him showing their jewelry. This is the type of guy who says, I'll help you with the yard work, or I'll help you with the paving of your driveway, as his family goes inside the back door and steals from you. I didn't hear any concerns about her. I heard concerns about privacy.
Mr. Mayor, could you ask the?
I'm sorry. I heard concerns about privacy. I heard concerns about data, but I didn't hear concerns about the elderly. I had 4 juvenile kids walking in a public park. They walked past a vehicle. On their way back from the park, an individual came out of the vehicle and pulled a gun on them. He just didn't want them walking closer to their vehicle. They ran home, they told their parents, and my description was a white SUV. A white SUV. Took me 2 days to find that one. He was a habitual criminal. 7 warrants for his arrest. Taken off the street because of flock. People say flock doesn't work. I got pictures of vehicles around my cubicle, 28 of them, showing that flock does work. I catch criminals with it as soon as I can, as quick as I can. Flock makes your city safer. If you're worried about, and I'm all for fighting the oligarchy, I'm all for stopping the data sharing with everybody else, I'm all for that. But don't make my job harder by taking away a system that helps us catch criminals. You take away that system, completely wipe it out because you're worried about your data or your privacy being shared or mass surveillance. I hate to say this, but you're not that important. No one cares about your information on a local level, all right? I'm here to help the kids. I'm here to help the elderly. I'm here to catch the guy who robbed the bank. I'm here to catch the criminals. And you're taking away a tool that your investigators need, and they need it daily. I know there's abuses out there, and people talk about that, but there's abuses in every career field. There's abuses in every system. Hospitals give up data all the time. Google gives up data all the time. And mass surveillance, police officers don't have that much time to do mass surveillance, all right? We have a busy job, so I'm just saying flock works, period. I know, I use it.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else under communications from citizens? All right, now I'm closing that portion. Reports from city administration, anything tonight, Mr. Vanderpool?
Nothing further, Mayor.
Mr. Koszybski?
No closed session tonight, Mayor.
Council, any reports or new business?
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Yanis?
Can we ask some follow-up questions since Captain Bisdorf is here?
Yeah.
In regards to this, because there's been just so much. Captain Bisdorf, can you step up to through the chair? I heard this term clearance rate. I don't know if I got the correct term or not. This was brought up about solving crime and, but could it be possible that maybe in some areas crime has gone down and therefore the rate has gone down? Captain Bisdorf?
I guess I really don't have a firm answer. It could, sure.
Yeah, I'm curious as to this. It's not a tool that is beneficial. We just heard this former police officer, retired police officer, we've heard other police officers from other agencies say the same thing. But this is a tool. It's not the one tool that solves all crimes. It is part of we have fingerprints, we have a number of things that we use to pull together to find a perpetrator, correct?
Absolutely.
Flock is one of them.
Absolutely.
Okay. Have you ever been to Comtech?
Yes.
And they got a wall of screens, right?
Correct.
And those are traffic cameras.
Correct.
Is that surveillance?
It depends on your definition.
Well, okay, no, I get what you're saying. Do we have a police officer dedicated, sitting in a room all day long, watching monitor, surveilling something? Traffic, people?
No.
No, okay. So we don't do surveillance unless there's a specific reason, like cars being stolen out of the Stellantis parking lot. Then we do surveillance, right? Trying to catch crooks.
Correct.
But we don't have anybody sitting there monitoring the flock system, surveilling the traffic as it goes by.
We do not.
Okay. One more question in regards to the server, because this really does bother me a lot. Is there redundancy? So if our server went down, what happens to the data? I'm going to assume at some point that there's some sort of maintenance and they have to, turn the one server off and transfer the data to another server. Do you know anything about that?
I do not.
Okay. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you, Mr. Yanez. Council, anyone else? Mrs. Sarowski.
Thank you so much. So this is comments not about specifically Flock, but I think this is where we're going to go for a bit. Without objection, because we're getting many different stories and many different perspectives, if we could ask the police department, without council objection, I would like to ask the police department to do a data analysis to show case clearance before and after Flock in our cases. I would like, just to see, I mean, if we're saying that it helps, but it also does matter that if we have less, and we have to make sure we are understanding the data correctly, are we looking at, okay, we're clearing 75 cases and now we're clearing 40 cases, but that's actually not the percentage. So I want clearance percentage as opposed to clearance numbers, so that we're looking at true data and seeing if we're clearing what we hope is being an improvement with the Flock or not. We want to make sure this tool is being used to our important uses. I also want to find out, and I don't know how, maybe this is through the chair to Mr. Vanderpool, please. Is there a way that we can, it does worry me that things are in the cloud, that they are managed by Amazon. I've had my account hacked by somewhere through Amazon 5 times now in the last 10 years. So every other year, about Christmas time, I got to get a new credit card. So I would like, if it's possible, is there a way to have them prove the safety of of their cloud system, if they've deferred hacking, if they've found ways to keep it as safe as possible? I know nothing's 100%. As I said, I'm a nurse, so I know I've worked at places and had data breached more than I care to think about. But is there a way that we can get them to at least give us some information on that? The security of their system and how they prevent hacking and any unauthorized use.
Mr. Vanderpool.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem Sarowski, of course we can, and we will. And we'll also have our IT director weigh in on security and storage and so on. While I have a chance, I did want to highlight, and the chief may want to elaborate, pre and post data is a good idea. It's probably going to take some time, but keep in mind, this is just one tool. We have hundreds of police tools that we use every single day. Radar equipment, the lean system, all sorts of narcotic and detective software. So you have to look at it in its totality. Pre and post data of all the tools we use, because this is really just a sliver of the police work that's done every day. So we have to give that some thought. I'm not real sure how we produce that report, but we'll collaborate with the police chief and the captain and other stakeholders and report back to you.
Okay, appreciate it very much. And that's, yes, I completely agree that different things help solve cases, different technologies and other than just the Flock system, but we're looking at the Flock system. So I would really like to see that and how that has improved what we've got. There are many different factors, I do understand. Okay, so other than that, I'm on a completely different note because this is comments from council. Thank you all to Sterling Heights for a wonderful Sterling Fest. That was, I think, one of the best we've had. We've had new setup. There's always tweaking to be done with something that when you change the major format. But I do think that the residents were very well behaved. Everything went well. Thank you, ladies, for being here. And so I'm really happy with the way Sterling Fest went. And to the city not just to the residents for coming, but to the employees that worked it, to the volunteers that worked it from many different organizations, to our first responders who spent a lot of extra overtime dealing with providing extra security and safety for our residents. So thank you all. It was wonderful. I live literally within walking distance from here, and I've walked for 30 years to Sterling Fest, many times back with crying children when they weren't ready to go home. But it was a great night, and 3 nights, and I really appreciate that. So thank you. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Sarowski. Mr. Red.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I wanted to thank the clerk of Sterling Heights and her wonderful employees for what I understand to be a pretty faultless election day. It went well. How late were you here last night, Mrs. Riska? To the chair.
Did you go home?
Pretty late. I wished I had a cot here. I left here, I think, around 3 o'clock.
Tremendous.
Thank you for being
You know, well deserved.
Well, you and your staff deserve it. So
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah. So I just want to say, you know, our elections are safe, they're secure, they're well done. Anyone who came to vote yesterday was able to. We have a wonderful system here, and if you don't believe that, you're welcome to sit in the room and observe on election day. It's a long day. You'll be here late. But I think we had a wonderful job. Congratulations to the winners and condolences to the losers. We settle problems in America through voting. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. I've never lost yet, but you never know. It's tough, and I think to step up and run for office takes a certain kind of person, because with the way the internet is, the way people are nowadays, it can be brutal out there. And anyone who watched this most recent campaign knows how brutal it can be on both sides. And a lot of people say a lot of silly things on the internet, but man, these are regular people who want to serve their communities, whether you agree with them or not. They want to serve, they want to make their communities better. No one runs to make things worse. They run to make things better. So I want to commend them for their work. You take a lot of time away from your family, you take a lot of time away from all the other things you should be doing to run for office, so that should be commended. I also, like Mayor Pro Tem Sarowski, want to congratulate the city on a tremendous Sterling Fest. I think it went very well. There were very few problems. I would love feedback from the public. What did you like? What didn't you like? What would you change? What would you suggest? Because I think we're going to do a real evaluation of Sterling Fest this year, and your comments help us deciding on the future of the festival. My final thought will be one more comment on Flock. I don't want to belabor the point. The two things I would say is, I think there's this misconception about Flock that there's an officer in a room watching cameras. With AI, all you have to do is put it into a hot list. And then if that car, or what they assume is that car, for many different reasons, passes a post that has a Flock camera on it, it'll be flagged. In Warren, one of those flags ended up in a tragic crash that took the lives of 2 people because someone was rushing to a hot list. AI is powerful, and that's the thing. The Panopticon used to require someone to sit there and watch. And now with tech, with the supercomputers, with the internet, you don't need to have a person watching if it's always watching. And that's the problem with Flock. That's the problem with mass surveillance. It's the problem with the virtual Panopticon. It's always watching, whether you're doing good or doing bad. And I don't disagree. This is a tremendous item. This thing is successful. I don't think anyone's saying Flock is not successful. Its success is what makes it scary. That's what makes it scary, is that it can track you, it can follow you, it can do you. And like I said, other countries use this for nefarious purposes. They kidnap people off the street with this tech. So just, you know, this is a book. It can't happen here, right? But it can happen here, and that's why I oppose it. And to compare it to Lean requires you to input a plate, but it's really not automated. It's not running in the same manner as Flock, always watching, always taking pictures. It's a database, but it's not quite the same thing. So I'll leave it with that. I would cancel this contract. I'd urge my colleagues to. And I look forward to the demonstration because I think it's a very dangerous technology. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Red. Mrs. Schmidt.
Thank you. Not to beat a dead horse, but, so, Mr. Vanderpool, I'm glad you brought up Steve Dion, because I had that written in my notes, that maybe he could help us to understand more about the security behind this. He is our tech, director of IT. And I'm wondering if there's backup capabilities of Flock. I mean, I know Mr. Yanas brought up if the system goes down, is there a backup capability? And I don't know if anybody can answer that. Or if we can just get that answer, I would appreciate it. But I really think maybe Mr. Dion could help us with this too, just to give us the IT perspective of the safety of all of this. And I'm wondering also, one of the residents brought up that Flock actually changed the verbiage of their contract as far as sharing information. Is our contract changed to reflect that? Or are we, does anyone know? Or if you could get back to us?
I'll get back to you. I'll look at it, but our contract hasn't changed since the initial engagement.
So chances are good it is not in our contract.
Correct.
And we do
I'll
not have to
confirm.
change that if this gets renewed?
Yeah, no, the contract would renew with us under the same terms. Otherwise, we'd have to come back to council.
Okay, okay. Thank you. And I too would like to acknowledge all the hard work put in by everyone from Sterling Fest. The gods were in our favor weather-wise. It was the best, I think, so far. All of the residents, the staff, the volunteers, everyone that contributed to it. We often say it takes a village. That was our village, and we were all out there contributing, and thank you to everyone. It was so much fun, so much fun. And I actually had guests from a different community, and they were enamored. They literally said their town sucks compared to Sterling Heights now, and that they would really consider moving here. And I'm really proud. I'm proud to be part of this community and the good things that we do. So thank you, everyone. Nothing further, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Schmidt. Mrs. Zarko?
Thank you, Mayor Taylor. We'll talk about Sterling Fest again, but it was a great weekend. Certainly, we're grateful for all of the staff and the volunteers that help us make it a success, but mostly it's the residents that come out, and we see them enjoying themselves, and they bring their families, and it isn't even just the rides or the food. At one point, I looked at the playgrounds. The playgrounds were filled with kids and parents just having a good time being outside, whether it be with relatives or neighbors, but everybody had a good time, and it was safe. So that's the most important thing. Now let's go back to our elections. Probably about 6 years ago, it's got to be that long, I asked Ms. Riska if we could follow a ballot from the time that somebody gets an absentee ballot and go through the process, because we had, it was something about unfair elections, rigged elections. So in those 6 years, I've made it a point to go through every aspect of what a ballot would go through. So I started out during COVID actually inserting absentee ballots in envelopes when we were 8 feet apart in a room, and I just remember that was my first step. Then I went to working the polls, and then testing the machines, the tabulators and the machines, understanding how things are locked up, how they're secured, understanding what poll inspectors do, and I even found out what it was a ballot that was left, abandoned ballot is what it was called, because the person didn't want to wait in line to put it through the machine, so they laid it on the table, and I actually stopped somebody from putting it in the machine because that was illegal. So I found out what, yes, an abandoned ballot was. And then working the receiving, board last night, and what happens when all of these precincts come in here and bring all of the paperwork that they have and the things that you have to unlock to get into it, the things that you have to check that are done by people at the polls who are independent of anybody. There's two parties that are represented, whether it be at the polls or whether it be at the receiving board. There's observers that watch all of this going on. There could be challengers that are there. But I'm confident that we have safe, secure, fair elections in Sterling Heights, and I stand by that. And it happens because we have a great city clerk who is not only known statewide but nationwide for all of her skills. And so we really do appreciate it, and you do need another round of applause. because time and time again, you perform and we look good, and I'm grateful for that. So thank you. Thank you. Nothing further.
Thank you, Ms. Zarko. Mr. Majek.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So yeah, last night about 5 PM, I had a call from a constituent, Earl Pierce. He lives at the 17 Ryan area. I've known for Earl probably for well over 30 years. And both he and a few other residents in that area have been complaining about a unsolicited business called U.S. Energy Conversation Group. They're trying to sell attic insulation. So that just raised concerns. And I want to thank Chief and the police department for helping out with that. You guys reacted so fast. This is my first experience with a resident, a constituent, and having the need for the police department on an issue. And I see here in my email how many officers were involved. Just on this email, I think there are 8 officers. You responded very fast, had police officers on the scene. I believe that was today to see if that company was legit or not. It looks like they are a legitimate company, but they're not licensed through the city, so that has to be taken care of. So I guess just keep an eye out for unsolicited businesses out there, and thanks for keeping our community safe, Chief. So that's all, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Majek. I won't retread old ground except to say kudos to our clerk, kudos to everybody who participated on the city's behalf in Sterling Fest, and thankful for the thousands and thousands of residents and visitors who came out to see it. Thank you to the folks that came out to speak tonight, and to our police department for the professional presentation and answering our questions. And I think that is pretty much all I have for tonight. So I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Support.
It's been moved and supported. With no discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.